Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Desert Lord. Random super divine level talent at the start. Chapter 91. Seeing Rat King Aubrey fainted from anger. The palace guards could only carry it out of the underground treasure house. Their allegiance to Rat King Aubrey is not because of the treasure, but the blood in Rat King Aubrey's body. The Skaven are also a race that values bloodline. Just like a bee colony has a queen and an ant clan has a queen. Aubrey is also their king, with noble royal blood. Only Aubrey, or his direct bloodline, is qualified to rebuild a new Skaven kingdom and gain the allegiance of other Skaven. Soon after, the group of people escaped into a secret passage. Here I met many high-ranking officials from the kingdom who were also raising families. A senior official from the kingdom asked in shock, "Your Majesty, what's going on?" A palace guard replied, "Someone robbed Your Majesty's private treasure house, and Your Majesty was stunned." A group of high-level officials from the kingdom. None of them expected that someone would dare to rob Rat King Aubrey's private treasure house at this time. What I didn't expect was that the Rat King Aubrey even wanted to take those treasures with him when he fled. For the rat people, treasure is not an indispensable thing. Food is what matters. When they fled, what they took away most was food, not treasures that looked beautiful but had no practical value. After all, this is the resource-poor Karar Desert. It is difficult to exchange for food even if you have treasure. At this time, the Rat King Aubrey suddenly woke up. The first words he spoke were, "Treasure thief. I must catch it and cut it into pieces. That is my life's wealth." A senior member of the kingdom quickly said, "Your Majesty, it is important to escape. We will talk about the treasure later." This is where, Rat King Aubrey looked at the dark cave walls around him. The kingdom's senior official said, "Your Majesty, have you forgotten? This is a secret escape passage you built, and only your guards and a few kingdom senior officials know about it. After passing through this passage we can reach Monrad Heights. Further north is the Albi mine site. That's the territory of the Grey Dwarves." "Yes, the Grey Dwarves," Rat King Aubrey hurriedly said. "We must rebuild the kingdom, which requires the resources of the Greyland Dwarves. As long as they are willing to help us, all my wealth can be given to them." The kingdom's senior officials were silent for a moment and said, "Your Majesty, the only wealth you have left now is us and the scepter in your hand." Rat King Aubrey rolled his eyes again in anger. "Hurry up and get out of this hellish place first." "Okay, Your Majesty." Soon, the long queue continued to set off. There was no sound except the sound of footsteps in the dark secret passage. All the Skaven were immersed in grief and despair. After this escape, they may never be able to return to their kingdom again. The kingdom of Ratmen. The crackdown continues. The Royal Griffin Knights did not hunt down the Ratmen who fled into various underground passages. After all, the Golden Griffins were too large to penetrate into underground holes. They were only responsible for clearing out the Ratmen who had not yet had time to escape. Especially those rat warriors with professional levels and wearing sophisticated equipment are their main targets. In the process, the Royal Griffin Knights also encountered resistance from a small group of troops. It was led by some powerful rat men, in an attempt to break through the encirclement of the Royal Griffin Knights. Of course, the outcome was no different from those of the rat warriors who were wiped out. They were killed by the Royal Griffin Knights in a few rounds. Whether it is a king-level expert or a Transcendent Realm expert, none of them could withstand the attack of the Royal Griffin Knights. Just a few minutes ago, a powerful Ratman of the Transcendent level soared into the sky, trying to escape from the capital of the Ratman Kingdom with the help of flying power. In less than a minute, it was overtaken by nearly 100 Royal Griffin Knights. Finally, he was pierced by a sharp knight's spear. In short, facing the attack of the Royal Griffin Knights, the Skaven Kingdom had almost no power to resist. You are very lucky to be able to escape the pursuit of the Royal Griffin Knights with the help of underground passages. Don't kill me. I'm one of my own." Near a certain hall, a rat man shouted with his hands raised. It is the Rat Messenger. Behind him stood his entire family, including his fat and strong 17th princess sister. Accompanied by a strong wind that swept in all directions, a huge golden griffin fell to the ground. The Royal Holy Knight on its back looked at the Rat Messenger indifferently. "What's going on with those rat men behind you?" He didn't take action immediately. because he sensed the imprinted aura of his subjects on the body of the rat messenger. The mark of the Lord is given by the Lord system. Through this mark, one can easily distinguish the locals from outsiders. Reporting to the Lord Knight, they are all my family members, and they are loyal to the great Lord just like me. The rat messenger quickly explained. Then it took out several pieces of space equipment and handed them to the Royal Holy Inquisition Knight. Lord Knight, these are the treasures I stole from Rat King Aubrey's private treasure house. I am willing to dedicate them all to the great Lord. You're a smart mouse. The Royal Holy Knight put away the space equipment and asked, where did Rat King Aubrey and the top officials of your kingdom escape? I do not know about this. The rat messenger shook his head hurriedly. I haven't been to Aubrey since the pre-war meeting. At this time, the 17th princess standing next to it tremblingly raised her fat paw and said, Dear Sir Knight, Your Majesty, Aubrey must have escaped through a secret passage. Secret passage. Take me there. Okay. Soon, the Royal Holy Knight came to the entrance of an underground passage. The diameter of the channel is about 5 meters. Both Ratmen and human Royal Holy Knights can pass through easily. But the Golden Griffin is too huge to enter. The Royal Holy Knight immediately took the Golden Griffin into the riding space, and then recruited several Transcendent-level knights to chase him down the passage. Looking at the retreating figures of a group of knights, the 17th princess asked in a low voice, Brother, what should we do? Rat messenger, if you don't want to die, just stay where you are until this war is over. Okay, brother. The 17th princess and the other rat people were very obedient and really didn't move. Surface world. The exits of dozens of underground passages are guarded by eternal tree guards. Each eternal treeman guard holds a large wooden stick nearly 20 meters long in his hand. Whenever a rat man came out of the passage, they would hit him with a stick. Come and die one by one. Come and die in groups. Soon, a large number of rat man corpses were piled near the exit of the passage. Inside one of the underground passages, a figure in black robe stood. It is the Lord Messenger that Rat King Aubrey longs for. 200 meters ahead of him was the exit of the passage. He could even clearly see the sunlight coming through the hole, representing hope and freedom. However, he did not dare to move forward. The sound of sticks coming from the exit from time to time made his scalp tingle. He didn't want to be like those big black rats, being smashed into meat pies by 20-meter-long sticks. That would be too miserable. Why did even the tree people show up? The black-robed figure couldn't help but curse. As early as when the Royal Griffin Knights gathered in the sky above Shallan, he immediately chose to escape from the Rat Kingdom. He knew that the Dragon Charles was most likely killed in battle, and the Ratman Kingdom was also hopeless. Staying in the Skaven Kingdom is the only way to die. So he fled straight into an underground passage, wanting to stay away from this place of right and wrong. But what he didn't expect was that the enemy was faster than him, and as if they had received intelligence in advance, they directly blocked the exits of almost all underground passages. He has actually replaced several channels. But every passage is a dead end, and there is no way to escape. What made him most unbelievable was that the people guarding the underground passages were all trees tens of meters high, and all of them had reached the transcendent level. You know, this is the Karar Desert. Not to mention the forest, even a decent forest is difficult to find. He was actually able to see the tree ants from the elf camp here. What a hell! What he didn't know was that the tree men guarding the exit of the passage were not ordinary tree men, but eternal tree man guards who were more powerful than the ancient tree men. At the same level, even giant dragons could fight hard. At this moment, another muffled sound came. The black-robed figure felt the ground beneath his feet shake. Looking towards the exit, a large number of rat men were so frightened that they fled back to the depths of the passage. Another ratman was hammered to death. The corners of the black-robed figure's mouth twitched. When he thought of those huge wooden sticks, his hair stood on end. He is a magician and his physical strength is not very high. One stick down and it turns into minced meat. Even if you rush out with a magic shield, you may not be able to last long. At this time, a rat man said in horror, Master Messenger, you are an extremely powerful transcendent magician. With your strength, you can definitely rush out. Yes, Lord Messenger, you go out and kill those evil trees. We support you spiritually. The other ratmen in the passage also placed their hopes on the black-robed figure. When the black-robed figure heard this, he was trembling with anger. These despicable big black rats actually want him to open the way, which is simply disgusting. Do you think he is a fool? But at this moment, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration and said to the rat men in the passage, "There is no point in rushing in. Aren't you rats? You can dig a new hole in the ground." A rat man shook his head and said, "The messenger is really good at joking. Even if we are given a month, we will not be able to drill out a safe passage out of this hard rock in the underground world. Now there is no food, so I will starve to death halfway." The black-robed figure was speechless. After a moment, he turned cold and said, "Then there is only one way." "Lord Messenger, what is the solution?" the rat people asked excitedly. The figure in black robe waved the magic wand in his hand and said in a cold voice, "The way is, you guys die." As the words fell, countless dark tentacles appeared out of thin air. Any rat man caught by the tentacles was sucked into a mummy in an instant. In the blink of an eye, dozens of ratmen were killed. This was because the black-robed figure was deliberately showing mercy, otherwise all the ratmen in the passage would have died under his dark magic attack. Saw this scene. The other ratmen were scared to death. The next moment they all fled. There were many ratmen who wanted to run back, but found that the back path was blocked by more dark tentacles. They could only turn around and run toward the far exit. Hundreds of Skaven swarmed towards the exits in terror. They know that this is the conspiracy of the human magician, and want to use their lives to pave the way for him. But even if they knew, there was nothing they could do. If they didn't want to die in the hands of the human magician, they had no choice but to rush forward. If they're lucky, they might be able to escape. But if you stay where you are, you will definitely die. Evil human magician, you will not end well. The great rat god will curse you forever. Amidst countless curses, hundreds of ratmen poured out of the underground passage like a tide, and what greeted them were big sticks more than 20 meters long, accompanied by the sound of banging and banging on the ground. Groups of ratmen were crushed to death. In the chaos, the black-robed figure flew out of the passage like an arrow off the string, and quickly escaped hundreds of meters away, reaching the peak speed of his lifetime. However, just when he thought he had successfully escaped, sharp wooden spears passed through the air and shot straight towards him. The wooden spear is as fast as lightning, even faster than the reaction speed of the black-robed figure. He could only watch as the wooden spears hit the magic shield covering his whole body with great accuracy, and prayed that the magic shield could withstand this wave of attacks. As long as he can withstand this wave of attacks, he will be confident of escaping. Certainly possible. I am a high-level transcendent magician, and those tree people are only mid-level transcendent at best. As long as I am given enough space to cast magic, I can even suppress them. This thought just came up. The black-robed figure saw the first wooden spear explode on his magic shield, then the second, and the third. His magic shield was always very strong. Until the penultimate wooden spear flew. His magic shield suddenly collapsed without warning. The next second his body was pierced by a wooden spear. How is it possible? The figure in black robe only felt his eyes go dark. Then, the body fell uncontrollably from the sky. To the end of his life, he could not figure out why his magic shield suddenly collapsed, even though he still had magic power to hold on. How could he know that the Eternal Tree Guard's unit characteristic, Strong Strike, has a probability of causing an instant kill effect on enemies of no more than 2 levels? To put it simply, the feature is triggered. He was killed instantly. Golden Oasis. Inside the Professional Skill Tower, Lin Yi is studying various professional skills in retreat. He mainly learns magic skills, and is exposed to various elemental skills. After all, he is a Lord profession, and has no restrictions on professions and elemental attributes. Until now, he has learned 3 transcendent levels of magical skills: Meteor and Fire Shower, Summon Earth Giant, and Holy Light Enchantment. Meteor Fire Rain is a range attack skill. Summoning an Earth Giant means summoning another Earth Giant puppet with a combat power of transcendent level to assist in combat. Holy Light Barrier is a light magic and group defense skill. Although Lin Yi doesn't have to go to the battlefield, and these magic skills will most likely never be used, this does not prevent him from improving his own strength. And every time he masters a magic skill, he will also gain a sense of accomplishment. Just when Lin Yi was immersed in the magical world, a series of information prompts appeared in his mind. Congratulations, Lord, your army has destroyed the core building of the Ratman Kingdom, the Royal Palace. Closing square bracket. You conquered the Skaven Kingdom. Closing square bracket. You have completed side task 1. Closing square bracket. You get the mission reward, a random drawing. Closing square bracket, comma. Is it that fast? Lin Yi opened her eyes with a surprised expression on her face. He knew that the strength of the Royal Griffin Knights could easily capture the Skaven Kingdom, but he did not expect that it would be so fast, as if the Skaven Kingdom did not put up any decent resistance at all. Then a thought came to my mind. A drawing with a faint golden light appeared in his hand. I hope I can get a random military building drawing. Lin Yi never worried that the number of troops under his command was so large that the food reserves in the territory would not be enough to eat. He only worried that his strength was not strong enough and that he would be killed before he could truly develop. So he wants to have more military buildings, thereby increasing the size of the legion in the territory. As the drawing disappeared, another information prompt appeared. Congratulations, Lord, you used a random drawing. Closing square bracket. You get a drawing of a special building in the territory, the Hero Tavern. Closing square bracket, comma, special building drawing, Hero Tavern. Building information. This is a very special tavern, only powerful intelligent beings are eligible to enter. As a lord, you can recruit heroes who are willing to follow you in the tavern. Closing square bracket. Construction requirements. 50,000 gold coins, 100,000 units of wood. Comma, what a pity, it's not a military construction drawing. But the good news is, this blueprint is more expensive than Dragon's Tomb. Looking at the Hero Tavern construction requirements, Lin Yi couldn't help but take a breath. It only costs 50,000 gold coins to upgrade to the middle level in Tomb of the Dragon. On the other hand, the Hero Tavern requires so many gold coins just to build it. Comparing Altar of Luck and Fountain of Spirits again, they are simply outrageously expensive. But Lin Yi was very happy. Because the higher the cost, the more powerful it is. Without hesitation, Lin Yi immediately walked out of the professional skill tower, found an open space near the town hall, and built this Hero Tavern at the cost of 50,000 gold coins and 100,000 wood. This is a small tavern. The appearance is far from luxurious. It can even be said to be ordinary, with nothing special about it. Comma, Hero Tavern. Level. Low level. Building attributes. A tavern only for the strong. Next level. Middle level Hero Tavern. Upgrade requirements. 500,000 gold coins, 1 million units of wood. Special reminder. Improving the level of the Hero Tavern can attract more powerful heroes. As a lord, you can recruit them to serve your realm. Closing square bracket. Comma, is this a tavern only for the strong? Lin Yi whispered, then opened the door of the tavern and walked in. The space in the pub is not large. There is only one bar and less than 10 wine tables in the hall. In addition, there is a semicircular sofa in the corner, which looks like a VIP seat. At this moment, an old man in a gray robe stood behind the bar, mixing drinks with an expressionless face. When Lin Yi walked over, a smile appeared on the old man's cold face and he asked, "What would you like to drink, Lord? We have countless kinds of drinks from the myriad worlds here, including immortal-grade wine brewed from divine objects." Universe myriad worlds. Didn't this world view suddenly open up? Lin Yi became interested and said with a smile, "Then give me a glass of fairy wine." "Okay, Lord. The old man in gray robe smiled and said, "Your sincere favor is 50 million gold coins." The smile on Lin Yi's face suddenly froze. The Lord also wants to collect money. The old man in gray robe said, "There is no way, it's a small business." Lin Yi rolled his eyes. A glass of wine sells for 50 million gold coins. Is this a small business? Lin Yi said, "Then give me a glass of the cheapest wine." "Okay, Lord." The old man in gray robe waved his right hand, and a glass of blood-red wine appeared in front of Lin Yi. He smiled and said, "Bloody Mary, worth 300 gold coins. This glass of wine is treated as my invitation to the Lord." "Thank you. Lin Yi is also welcome." He picked up the wine glass and took a sip. There is a smell of blood at the entrance. After entering the mouth, my throat felt like it was on fire, and my body also became hot. It wasn't until a long time passed that the heat subsided, and even my breath smelled sweet. Good wine. Lin Yi sighed in praise. Later, while drinking, he made insinuations and inquired about the old man's background. It was a bit bold that even he, the Lord, dared to charge for the drink. But after chatting for a long time, Lin Yi couldn't figure out the reason. However, he estimated that it was his Lord's system that supported the old man. Lord's system just loves money. Old sir, when will a hero appear in the tavern? It depends on luck. Sometimes there are a few in a day, and sometimes there may not be one in a year and a half. However, the Lord can increase the probability of heroes appearing by upgrading the level of the tavern. Hearing this, Lin Yi nodded. That's it for today. With that said, he put down his wine glass and stood up to leave. But right now, a figure suddenly appeared in the bar lobby out of thin air. The figure is wearing a silver-white crystal dress, with light silver hair and an extremely beautiful face. The aura emanating from his body was even more terrifying to the extreme. Just one glance made Lin Yi feel dizzy. What is this place? The figure whispered, and his slightly melancholy eyes swept over Lin Yi and looked at the old man in grey robe standing behind the bar. The old man in grey robe said expressionlessly, "This is the Hero Tavern, a magical building that connects countless universes. Only true heroes can enter here. Countless universes. That's really amazing." The figure turned to look at Lin Yi again and asked, "Are you a hero too?" Lin Yi smiled and said, "I am not a hero, I am here to recruit heroes." "Recruit," the figure repeated and sighed softly, "You are too weak to recruit me." Lin Yi was not angry. Instead, he smiled and stretched out his hand towards the figure and said, "We can talk about recruitment later. Let's get to know each other first. My name is Lin Yi, the Human Lord." The figure looked at Lin Yi's outstretched hand and was stunned for a moment. Just now, Lin Yi and Lin held hands, and then said softly, "Kesha, the King of Angels." Ha ha ha. Lin Yi laughed twice. After a moment, he looked intently at the breathtakingly beautiful figure in front of him and asked, "Are you really the Holy Kesha who created the righteous order?" Kesha didn't answer, but asked, "You also know about the Order of Justice?" Lin Yi said, "I know a little bit." Kesha said softly, "What do you think about the Justice Order?" Lin Yi thought for a while. "As a lord, I support the supreme authority and unquestionable supremacy you have established within the order system, but I do not agree with the selfless protection of weak civilizations by the righteous order." Kesha said, "The life and death of life are governed by natural laws. The Order of Justice protects weak civilizations from being invaded by powerful civilizations and maintains the normal operation of the universe." Lin Yi said, "If we want the universe to operate normally, then it is normal for powerful civilizations to invade and conquer weak civilizations. After all, the strong will not stay in a corner forever. Desire always sprouts in nightmares." Hearing this, Kesha frowned. Lin Yi continued, "From the perspective of a lord, the order I want is for all civilizations and races to live under my rule, forming a solid whole with the Lord as the leader. With my protection, they will live better and pass on longer. But the process of ruling will inevitably involve the use of war." Kesha glanced at Lin Yi and said, "If it's Morgana, she will like you very much." Lin Yi said with a smile, "If she is willing to be my hero, I will also like her very much." "Then you need to get stronger." Kesha chuckled and walked to the bar of the tavern. He said to the old man in grey robe behind the bar, "Let's have 2 glasses of good wine." The grey-robed old man waved his right hand, and 2 glasses of golden glow wine appeared in front of Kesha out of thin air. He said indifferently, "Sincerity benefits 70 million gold coins." Kesha reached out and grabbed the void. A weapon emitting terrifying energy fluctuations appeared out of thin air. "Is this enough?" "Enough." The grey-robed old man put away the weapon. Lin Yi's eyes turned red. Produced by Kesha, it must be a high-quality product. That weapon definitely reached divine weapon level. If he gets it, sweeping across the holy continent may not be a problem. Here, Kesha gently pushed one of the wine glasses in the direction of Lin Yi. "Next time, you treat me instead." "No problem." Lin Yi doesn't know what politeness is. He directly took the wine glass and drank with this beautiful and King of Angels. After drinking a glass of wine, the magic power in Lin Yi's body suddenly increased wildly, and his level broke through the saint rank in the blink of an eye, and did not stop until he reached the saint level. On Kesha's side, there was no movement at all. It's obviously so powerful that it's terrifying. The energy contained in the drink was just a drizzle to her. Kesha gently put down the wine glass in her hand and asked Lin Yi, "What kind of world is this?" Lin Yi said while calming the violent magic power in his body, "This is the Holy Continent, a world ruled by the power of Transcendent and the eternal gods. I have not been to places outside the world, but I heard that gods are flying all over the sky." Kesha shook her head and said, "The universe will also die. There is no real immortality in the world. The so-called immortal gods are just powerful creatures compared to weak creatures." Lin Yi said, "I heard that you lived for 30,000 years. Kesha nodded slightly. "Absolutely." Lin Yi said, "There are more ancient gods in this world." Kesha chuckled. "After I die, I will come over and see this world with my own eyes. At that time, if you are strong enough, I will consider becoming your guardian angel." Lin Yi asked doubtfully, "Do you know you will die?" Kesha nodded slightly and said, "I saw a glimpse of the future." Lin Yi was even more puzzled. "Then why don't you leave? With your strength, you should be able to escape before the supernova explodes." "I'm tired," Kesha said. Lin Yi. At this time, Kesha set her sights on Lin Yi, looked at it for a few times and then said, "You have the soul data of humans on Earth, but it is somewhat different from the humans on Earth in my universe. Are you from the Earth in a parallel universe?" "Roughly the same." Lin Yi nodded. Kesha asked curiously, "In your universe, what will be the outcome of the righteous order after my death?" Lin Yi said, "I haven't finished it yet, it's too late." "It sucks." Kesha looked confused. Lin Yi smiled and said, "In my world, you are just an anime character." Kesha, Queen Kesha is gone. Appear out of thin air and disappear out of thin air. When leaving, the ruler known as the King of Angels had an ugly expression, as if he could not accept that he was just an anime character. Before leaving, she also told Lin Yi that she would be back. She expressed that she would follow Lin Yi to the Earth universe where Lin Yi is located to see the development of the plot after her death. If she is dissatisfied, she will kill a group of people. Lin Yi looked at the old man in grey robe behind the bar and asked, "Old sir, what is the situation with Holy Kesha?" The virtual character appears in the real world. When facing Lin Yi, the grey-robed old man would always squeeze out a smile and say, "In a world where there are as many gods as dogs, does the Lord still care about this?" Lin Yi changed the subject. "You can lend me the weapon that Kesha took out just now." The old man in grey robe shook his head and said, "I have already handed it over. Lord, you can get that weapon by completing the task in the future." "Gone." Lin Yi rolled his eyes, got up and walked out of Hero Tavern. After returning to the town hall, he opened his own message template. Lin Yi. Identity title: Lord, Viscount of Stanlow Kingdom, Little Prince of Dragon-Slaying World. Territory: Golden Oasis. Level: Saint level. Lord talents: Myriad races favored 1, Super Divine level, Awakening of Ancient Bloodline, Epic level, Holy Envoy of Light rare level. Gold coins: 28,400. Big money. Lin Yi grinned widely, feeling extremely happy. Although he failed to recruit Holy Kesha at once, his own level jumped to the Saint level, which made him even happier than the Dragon race unit that gave birth to the Saint rank level. After all, this is his own power. It is indeed a glass of wine worth tens of millions of gold coins. It's not in vain. The next thing I have to do is go to the professional skill tower and research my field. A Saint-ranked strongman without a field is incomplete. Once he owns the domain, his strength will increase exponentially. This side of the Ratman Kingdom. The campaign of suppression lasted until night. In this war, the Royal Griffin Knights killed hundreds of thousands of Ratmen. In addition, the Eternal Tree Guards guarding the underground passages also killed a large number of Rat men. After the war, statistics showed that fewer than 200,000 Skaven survived. And all of them are ordinary rat people. There are no more professionals. Killing ordinary ratmen is the same as killing ordinary sand people, without experience. Therefore, the Royal Griffin Knights followed the Lord's order and did not kill the remaining ratmen. Of course, it is impossible to let go directly. It's not that I'm worried that these ratmen will take revenge on Golden Oasis in the future, but to extract more value from them. There were about 170,000 ordinary ratmen left, all of whom were gathered together. They submitted their loyalty to Lin Yi, under the witness of the Royal Griffin Knights. After some oaths, they became the citizens of the Golden Oasis. It will contribute its own strength to the future development and construction of Golden Oasis. In addition, Lin Yi does not need to raise these hundreds of thousands of rat people. Because the Ratman Kingdom has a lot of food reserves. There used to be more than 1 million ratmen, plus the support of the Dark Dragon Charles, who was a big eater, so the Ratman Kingdom began to gradually experience a food crisis. Now, the Dark Dragon Charles is dead. There were only a few 100,000 Skaven left out of over 1 million. The food reserves in the Skaven Kingdom are enough for them to eat for 2 to 3 months. During this time, they can also collect food while working, so Lin Yi does not need to worry about the food of these rat people at all. Lin Yi also left the ruins of the Skaven Kingdom to them. Let them continue to live in the Skaven Kingdom. The work site is in the Rocky Mountains on the surface. Next, the daily work of these rat men is to mine stones for Lin Yi. A royal holy knight summoned the rat messenger over and said, "The Lord has said that from now on you will be the new king of the Rat Kingdom, and you will be responsible for managing the remaining rat people. It is your task to mine stones and collect resources for the Lord. Don't let your Lord down." Clear. The rat messenger knelt down on the ground in great excitement and kept praising the great Lord. If he had known that there was such a good thing, he would have betrayed the Rat King Aubrey. Of course, it was not too late for him to betray. Although it failed to complete the task assigned by the Lord, it also dedicated all the private wealth of the Rat King Aubrey to the Lord. This is its loyalty to the Lord. Alright, gather the people of your kingdom. Let them clean up the battlefield and move all the Ratman corpses to the surface world. As you command, Lord Knight. The rat messenger quickly went down to deliver the order. Ordinary ratmen who had just experienced a brutal war naturally did not dare to resist the orders of the rat messengers. They do whatever the rat messengers say. In addition, this is also related to the fact that they are marked with the mark of the people. Under the influence of the Lord's mark, they will instinctively choose to obey the Lord's will. And as time goes by, this impact will become more profound. Until the end, they were willing to die for Lin Yi. Late at night, countless rat men corpses were carried to the surface. After several trips back and forth, the Royal Griffin Knights finally transported all the corpses of the rat men to the Golden Oasis and piled them into the livestock farm. Naturally, the corpses of ratmen cannot be used as a normal food source. But it can be used to supply desert coyotes and even golden griffins raised in the livestock farm. Golden griffins also need to eat. What they usually eat are monsters and animals they hunt, as well as a small amount of moose. Now it's time for a change. Being the body integration of an eagle and a lion, the griffin doesn't mind a taste of the mouse. On the contrary, mice are also a delicacy for them. I'll leave the affairs of the Ratman Kingdom to you. Before leaving, the Royal Holy Knight said to the rat messenger, "From the moment you understand, you have to start working. No rat man can be lazy." Understood, Lord Knight. The rat messenger had a flattering and solemn expression. Next to it, stood the scout ratman who had provided intelligence information about the Ratman Kingdom to the Golden Oasis many times. He was now the top executive of the new Ratman Kingdom. The task is to cooperate with the rat messenger to manage the new Rat Kingdom. The mined stones and collected resources are regularly sent to the Golden Oasis using space equipment. If there is an enemy attack, you will report to the Lord. Even if the Lord is in the Golden Oasis, he can still hear your prayers. Hearing this, both the rat messenger and the rat scouts were filled with awe and reverence. There was even a hint of piety. Such things as piety often only appear in believers. A dense crowd of rat men knelt on the ground. Watching the retreating figure of the Royal Griffin Knights, the majestic and spectacular scene shocked them once again. But at this time, they seemed to feel no fear. On the contrary, it feels very safe. Everyone get up. The rat messenger stood on a high place, and his excited voice spread to all directions. "From now on, I am your new king, His Majesty Harvey. You must obey my orders and serve the great Lord. Speak with me and praise the Lord. Praise the Lord." Hundreds of thousands of rat men chanted together. They were glad that they were still alive, and they were in awe of the powerful Lord who was like a god. To them, the disaster that the Ratman Kingdom encountered was the wrath of the gods. In the future, it will also be recorded in the historical inheritance books of the Ratman Kingdom. And it is emphasized that only under the protection of the Lord, the Rat Kingdom can be inherited and reproduced forever. Those who betray the Lord will definitely suffer the disaster of annihilation. This is the Golden Oasis. Lin Yi is counting the gains of this war. Mainly gold coins. After a kingdom-level war, he gained more than 400,000 gold coins. Many times more than normal hunting. In addition, from the personal wealth of Rat King Aubrey, he also received more than 1 million common gold coins of the Holy Continent, which were exchanged for hundreds of thousands of Lord gold coins. In total, he gained nearly 600,000 gold coins. Coupled with magic gems, magic crystals, magic potions of various attributes, as well as more than 1 million pieces of equipment, number of troops drawings, etc., the benefits are even more amazing. It can be called a bumper harvest. After it was over, a royal holy knight came over to report. Lord, Rat King Aubrey and his party have escaped from the secret passage. According to the prisoners we captured, their target is the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom hidden in the ruins of the Albi mine. Don't worry, Lord, our people are stepping up their efforts to search for their traces. They can't escape. The Dwarf Kingdom of Greyland. Lin Yi thought for a moment. Just keep an eye on them, no need to arrest them. It just so happens that our territory needs a group of blacksmiths. As you command, Lord. The Royal Holy Knight respectfully obeyed the order. Lin Yi asked, how is the harvest of your Royal Knight's Corps? The Royal Holy Inquisitor Knight said respectfully, reporting to your lord, after this war, almost all the Royal Holy Inquisitor Griffin Knights have been promoted to king level. Other Royal Griffins have also generally been upgraded by 1 or 2 levels. The overall harvest is still very great. Hearing this, Lin Yi nodded. The Royal Holy Griffin Knights recruited are all at level 9, which is only 1 level away from the king level. As for other Royal Griffin Knights, their initial levels are lower. After this large-scale Legion level battle, it is normal for their levels to be improved. Today, he has more than 3,000 Royal Holy Order Griffin Knights under his command. That is more than 3,000 king-level knights. Plus more than 3,000 king-level Golden Griffins. This force is still very powerful. Keep it up. Lin Yi said with a smile. I look forward to the day when you all set foot in the Transcendent Realm world. Once all the more than 20,000 Royal Griffin Knights under his command become Transcendent Professionals, let alone the Dragon Charles, even if the Dragon Charles is multiplied by 10, he will have to run away with his tail between his legs. Coupled with his Lord talent and the blessing of the title Little Prince of the Dragon-Slaying World. A scrape can kill the Dragon Charles times 10. I will definitely not disappoint the Lord. The Royal Holy Knight assured Lin Yi confidently. Lin Yi nodded slightly. It's too late. You guys will go out hunting tomorrow. You can take turns resting tonight, as long as you don't let the undead creatures get close to the wall of the territory. He was not worried about undead creatures breaking through the wall and entering the Golden Oasis. I simply don't want undead creatures to be shot by arrow towers and fortresses. Just because the undead creatures shot by arrow towers and fortresses will not provide experience to his legion and himself, it is equivalent to wasting it in vain. As you command, Lord. The Royal Holy Knights respectfully retired. Master. The little maid Sally jumped up to Lin Yi. She prepared a midnight snack for her young master. A few grilled silvertails, a variety of fruit platters, and the high-grade wine that Sophia left in the territory. Lin Yi smiled and said, what happy event happened to make me so happy? The maid Sally said with a smile, Master, my level has been upgraded again. I am now a rank 6 professional. As long as I advance to 1 more level, I will be a high-level professional. That's great, keep up the good work. Lin Yi reached out and rubbed the little maid's pink face. Go and call the old housekeeper here, let's have a supper together. Aha! After a while, the old butler Huodine came to the backyard. Although it was late at night, under the moonlight and the brilliance of the ancient War Mother tree, the visibility in the backyard was still very high, so there was no need to light a bonfire. The most important thing is not cold. In the Karar Desert late at night, the temperature is just over 10 degrees below zero, or even lower. But the Golden Oasis is as warm as spring. This is the magical protection from the ancient War Mother tree, which isolates the Oasis world from the outside world, like a paradise. The old butler Huodin did not participate in today's war against the Skaven kingdom, because he encountered a large group of grey wolves while hunting undead creatures. After a battle, the old housekeeper also gained a lot. The level was promoted to king level. It's not far away to become a transcendent professional. When he saw Lin Yi, the old butler Huodin was about to salute, but his body suddenly froze in place. He looked at his young master in disbelief. "Master, have you been promoted to saint rank?" "Good," Lin Yi said with a smile. "I got a chance and was promoted to saint level." Hearing this, the old butler Huodin's body trembled again. Because the level difference was too large, he could not sense Lin Yi's specific level information. He could only guess that Lin Yi had broken through the peak of transcendent through Lin Yi's sudden increase in magic power fluctuations. What makes the old butler Huodin incredible is, my young master not only stepped into the saint rank, but also jumped to the advanced level of the saint level. This is simply an exaggeration. What kind of opportunity is so terrible? The old butler didn't know that Lin Yi only achieved a sudden increase in level after drinking a glass of good wine. According to Lin Yi, he also feels that his level is a bit low. After all, that cup of good wine was worth tens of millions of Lord Gold coins, and was obtained by Queen Kesha in exchange for a piece of divine weapon level equipment. Logically speaking, it would not be too much for him to be promoted to the demigod realm. Lin Yi has reason to suspect that the profits of good wine are too high. The actual value is far less than divine weapon level equipment. If this is the case, it can only be said that his lord's system is more treacherous than a profiteer. The old butler Huodin said in shock, "If this continues, the young master may soon be promoted to demigod and stand at the pinnacle of the holy continent." There are almost no terrifying powerful men of the level of demigods, even in the Stanlow kingdom. Even if there is, it is an old monster that has lived for hundreds or even thousands of years. How old is his young master? Full plan, 20 years old. Whether compared to demigods or saint rank experts, my young master is too young. Such a young saint rank professional may not be found throughout the entire holy continent. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, "Let's not talk about it. The theme of tonight is to celebrate our territory's victory in the war against the Rat Kingdom." "Okay, master." The old butler Huodin sat down quickly. The little maid Sally on the side also poured wine for the two of them. An old man and two young men drank fine wine, ate delicious whitetail fish, chatted and laughed, and the atmosphere seemed particularly warm. I don't know how long it took. The old butler Huodin was a little drunk, and suddenly wiped away tears and said, "The young master has arrived at saint rank, and the golden oasis is also prosperous and developing. If the earl and the countess knew about it, they would be very happy. I don't know if they are still alive now." The old butler has served 3 generations of the Tulip family patriarch, and is especially close to the earl of this generation. He watched him grow up and watched the earl marry the countess. Here, Lin Yi slowly put down the wine glass in his hand. To be honest, there wasn't much emotional bond between him and the count and his wife. After all, it didn't take long for him to transmigrate here. Most of them are still dissatisfied with what happened to the Tulip family. Obviously he can just lie down and be a great nobleman with a title. Even a wife has been found. If nothing else goes wrong, he will soon be able to capture the 2 sisters Angie and Anne and enjoy the happy life of an aristocratic family. What a great result. In the blink of an eye, the family is gone, and the wife is gone. He was also randomly teleported to the barren Karar desert. No matter how developed he is now and how strong he is, the resentment in his heart has never dissipated. Sooner or later, he will conquer the kingdom of Stanlow and kill the stupid old king. As well as the nobles who were in the palace hall that day, each one must be liquidated. Don't worry, our army will soon enter the Stanlow kingdom. Hear this. The old butler Huodin suddenly sobered up. He believed that his young master could successfully rebel. The time soon came to 12 o'clock at night. A new day has come again. Lin Yi then summoned 3,000 Royal Griffin knights and 1,000 ancient treemen. Under the influence of the Lord's talent awakening of ancient bloodline, more than 500 Royal Griffin knights evolved into Royal Holy Griffin knights, and 176 ancient treants evolved into Eternal Treant Guard. So far, the total size of the Royal Griffin Knights Legion under his command reached 28,000. The total size of the tree army reached more than 2,400. According to normal circumstances, after these 2 days of summoning, the size of the tree army should be 2,000. The reason why there are more than 400 tree ants is because Lin Yi used the unit number drawing. This time they captured the Skaven kingdom and killed nearly 1 million Skaven. There are also more drawings on the number of troops that have been released than ever before. After using them all, he prostituted more than 400 tree people and nearly 3,000 Royal Griffin knights for free. Special reminder: when you have more than one troop building, the troop types obtained by using the troop quantity drawings will be random. Closing square bracket. If it weren't for the word random, Lin Yi specified that all of them would choose Tree Man for free. After all, the ancient treemen are a crown-ranked unit and are much more powerful than the Royal Griffin Knights. Of course, Lin Yi is not disappointed either. You've already paid for it, what else do you want? After the bedtime communication with the little maid Sally, Lin Yi was lying on the bed, her consciousness connected to the netherworld dragon Charles. The dragon is faster than the golden griffin. As early as daytime today, the nether dragon and the zombie dragon king had already arrived at the Falling Dragon Canyon located 1,400 kilometers away. Enter zombie dragon king directly from the entrance. While killing the undead creatures in the canyon, look for the dragon soul grass. As for the netherworld dragon Charles, he was hovering over Dragonfall Canyon, guiding the zombie dragon king in the direction and looking for suitable opportunities to fight in the wild. Thousands of meters in the air, netherworld dragon Charles roared, condensing a figure with his own soul power. This figure is exactly what Lin Yi looks like, and it embodies Lin Yi's spiritual consciousness. He stood on top of the netherworld dragon's head, overlooking the Grand Canyon below. Although he had already seen it once in the evening, he still felt shocked when he saw it again now. Even if you look down from a high altitude, you can't see how long Dragon Falling Canyon is at all. You can only see its twisted shape extending to the end of the earth. There is a main vein in Falling Dragon Canyon, the widest and longest. There are countless small canyons crisscrossing the main vein. The overall look is like an extremely ferocious and huge centipede lying on the ground, which is very scary. What's even more frightening is that the canyon is full of all kinds of undead creatures, as numerous as ants. Especially the main vein canyon. Not only are there many undead, but they are also powerful. The weakest are the elite. There are also a large number of king-level undead. For example, the Skeleton King, the Ghoul King, the Stone Oak Ghost King, etc. The king level here is not the level to describe them, but their identity, just like Aubrey is the Rat King and can rule the Rat Kingdom. Under the command of these undead kings such as the Skeleton King and the Ghoul King, there are also a large number of undead following them. They are equivalent to boss. In general, bounty hunters simply don't dare to run into the main vein of Dragonfall Canyon. Lin Yi rode the nether dragon Charles over the canyon in the evening and saw many bounty hunters. They were basically scattered in groups in the small canyons that extended out. There is dragon soul grass there, get down. Lin Yi's spiritual consciousness is connected with the ghost dragon Charles. A single thought can give orders to the nether dragon. After receiving the order, the nether dragon quickly dived in the direction of the dragon soul grass and entered the canyon in a short time. The nether dragon's body is almost completely transparent. Ordinary undead creatures cannot detect it at all. Basically, only undead creatures that have reached the king level can perceive the existence of the nether dragon through spiritual consciousness. At this time, there was also a group of powerful undead creatures surrounding the dragon soul grass. They are the guardians of the dragon soul grass. As long as there are enemies approaching this area, they will be attacked. However, when they sense the aura of netherworld dragon Charles, the first reaction of these powerful undead creatures was not to protect the dragon soul grass, but to run for their lives. At the same time, there were waves of fluctuations in mental power. It's the netherworld dragon. Those giant dragons are out to harvest the dragon soul grass again. Brothers, run. Similar mental fluctuations spread into Lin Yi's consciousness one after another. There was no need for him to give the order personally, and the netherworld dragon opened its ferocious mouth fiercely and let out a silent roar. As circles of soul ripples invisible to the naked eye spread out. In an instant, all the undead creatures within a few hundred meters fell down. Some undead skeletons even disintegrated directly. It turned into broken bones all over the ground. At the same time, the soul power in the undead bodies also turned into wisps of blue flames and converged towards the netherworld dragon, being swallowed up by it. The soul-devouring fire is a shortcut for the undead to quickly increase their strength. Plus experience rewards for killing monsters. That's the icing on the cake. For the undead dragons under his command, Falling Dragon Canyon is a paradise for upgrading. Lin Yi planned to wait until the dragon elves were conceived, and send the Bone Dragon Charles and the Carrion Dragon Charles who were guarding the territory, so that they could also feel the pleasure of a sudden increase in strength. Good luck, I harvested 4 dragon soul grasses. Lin Yi asked the nether dragon to wrap the dragon soul grass with its soul power, store it in its body first, and then take it out when it returns to the golden oasis. Dragon soul grass is called grass, but it is actually a flower. The rhizome and leaves are black, about 30 centimeters high. The top petals and stamens are dark blue and look like blue chrysanthemums. A single plant of dragon soul grass is worth tens of thousands of gold coins, and because the growth conditions of dragon soul grass are too harsh, it is difficult to buy it even if you have money. There is no real market for it. For those bounty hunters, just being lucky enough to pick a few dragon soul grasses is enough to make them rich. However, Lin Yi doesn't want just a few plants. Let's go to the next location. Under Lin Yi's command, the nether dragon rushed into the sky again. The other side, Zombie Dragon King is much more violent. It rushed directly into the main vein of Falling Dragon Canyon, rampaging through the ocean of the undead. Regardless of whether they are elite level, leader level undead, or king level undead, they are all ignored by it. Wherever it appears, there are corpses everywhere. In the end, the undead were so scared that they peed. Those skeleton kings, ghoul kings, and even the more powerful undead bosses are all in disarray. In the end, they didn't even want their territory anymore, and they were all running for their lives. In the southwest area of Fallen Dragon Canyon, there is a lake below a section of the main canyon. The lake is about 200 meters wide and more than 1,000 meters long. It was soaked with the corpses of a large number of creatures, including humans and monsters. The bodies were all decomposed. I don't know what was mixed with it, but the water in the entire lake was dark green, and from time to time bubbles exploded on the surface of the lake, emitting an extremely strong corpse smell. Even king-level professionals can't handle this level of corpse odor. After a few puffs, you have to go straight to heaven. In addition to countless rotting corpses, there are also creatures taking a bath in the lake. At first glance, those creatures are also piles of carrion. But they are intelligent creatures. They are an abomination. Abominations are also a type of undead creature. In essence, abominations are not much different from wights. They are both carrion undead. The difference is, the wights at least still have some semblance of appearance. Just like the carrion dragon under Lin Yi's command, it looks like a giant dragon. Abomination, on the other hand, is completely composed of piles of rotten flesh and has no so-called form at all. In addition, abominations can also devour the flesh and blood of other creatures and merge them into their own bodies, which can make them stronger and make them look more like Stitch monsters. This lake is the base camp of the Hate Clan. Lived with hatreds of all kinds, big and small. In addition, they are also the rulers of the surrounding area, supervising all undead creatures within the range. Even if an invisible ghost appears in this area, he still has to come and pay homage to the mountain. It is worth mentioning that the area where the Zombie Dragon King broke into was the territory of the Hate Clan. It is less than 30 kilometers away from the home base of the Abomination Clan. As the Zombie Dragon King killed everyone without respecting martial ethics, the news was quickly passed on. Quack quack. A rotten crow several meters long fluttered its wings and descended from the sky. Finally it landed on a dead tree branch near the lake. It spoke human language and shouted, "Your Majesty, someone has invaded your territory, someone has invaded your territory." The noisy rotten crow cries incessantly awakened a large number of abominations in the lake. After a while, the green water in the lake began to roll, exploding huge bubbles one after another, allowing the stronger smell of corpses to spread out. This corpse odor was so strong that it even condensed into a mist. Green mist, just like poisonous smoke. Soon, the corpse fog spread to the rotting crow. Instead of running away, it opened its mouth and sucked wildly. For undead creatures such as rotting corpses, this corpse mist is actually nourishment. At the same time, accompanied by countless exploding bubbles, an unusually huge head slowly emerged from the lake. Judging from the shape, it seems to be the head of a humanoid species. But what's anomaly is that the expression on this head also shows countless faces, including humans, monsters. The expression on each face shows a painful distortion. The diameter of the head alone exceeds 10 meters. One can imagine how huge the overall form of this abomination would be. It is the ruler of this area, the King of Abomination. The King of Abomination said in a very anomaly voice that seemed to be mixed with bursts of painful howls, "Are they those bounty hunters who don't know how to live or die again?" Fallen Dragon Canyon is the territory of the undead. There are no strongholds of intelligent races in the surrounding blank area of 100 kilometers. Under normal circumstances, only bounty hunters who want money rather than their lives will appear in Dragonfall Canyon and disturb the normal life of the undead. Not a bounty hunter, the rotting crow monster shouted. "Your Majesty, it's a zombie dragon, a huge zombie dragon at the transcendent level. It's killing undead creatures crazily in the canyon 30 kilometers away. It ignores that this is your territory. It doesn't give the king any face at all. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't be able to bear it." Quote. The King of Hatred was silent for a long time. Finally, he said, "Let it kill. How many dragons can it kill? Its target is dragon soul grass. It will naturally leave after eating enough." The rotten crow monster cried, "Your Majesty, what if it never leaves?" The King of Abomination said sinisterly, "Then kill it. Also remind the undead dragons in other areas that this is the territory of our Abomination Clan." The king is awesome. The rotten crow screamed with great excitement, "I support the king spiritually." Roll. The King of Hatred roared angrily. But just when the rotting crow was about to flap its wings and leave, the King of Abomination suddenly stopped it again and said, "You'd better go to the territory of the Skeleton Dragon King and tell it that its men have crossed the border." "Gah, King, where is your domineering power? I originally thought you had stood up, but in the end you lowered your arrogant head to the Skeleton Dragon King." There was a loud bang. The noisy rotten crow was crushed by a giant hand. The tattered body was thrown into the lake. After a while, another rotten crow flapped its wings and flew out of the lake, landing on a dead branch and screaming strangely. The King of Hatred repeated what he had just said. "I understand, my lord. The new rotten crow is obviously more sensible." Without any nonsense, he flapped his wings and flew towards the depths of Falling Dragon Canyon. A similar scene has happened countless times. In short, every once in a while, the King of Abomination will be so angry that he will kill a noisy rotten crow. Naturally, the Zombie Dragon King doesn't know what's happening here. Lin Yi doesn't know either. He has already ridden the Netherworld Dragon Charles to other areas to look for Dragon Soul Grass. He is not worried about the safety of the Zombie Dragon King. Judging from the combat power of the Zombie Dragon King, 3 or 5 undead dragons of the same level cannot even hope to kill it if they join forces, and may even be killed by it. With various attribute bonuses, Zombie Dragon King can be said to be invincible in Saint rank. Especially when facing the dragon, it will become stronger. Until about 3 o'clock in the morning, Nether Dragon has found more than 70 dragon soul grasses. Lin Yi also disconnected from his spiritual consciousness and returned to his true nature. Coupled with the dragon soul grass found by the Zombie Dragon King, it is enough to give birth to the dragon spirit. But it can wait. The more dragon soul grass is absorbed, the stronger the dragon spirit becomes. The pregnancy now is just the beginning of Saint level. It's best to find more dragon soul grass and raise the dragon elf's level to the peak of Saint rank at once, or even directly become a demigod. Let's see if there are other half-divine level dragon elves who dared to come to my territory and act arrogantly. Lin Yi also has a plan to collect more dragon soul grass. He planned to rob the bounty hunters when the dragon soul grass in Falling Dragon Canyon was almost completely harvested. As for offending people, with a half-divine level dragon elf, he was afraid of a hammer. Thinking like this, Lin Yi also entered Mengshang holding the soft and fragrant little maid Sally. The next day, Lin Yi woke up early, had breakfast served by maid Sally. After the little maid went hunting with a group of Royal Griffin knights, he walked out of the town hall and prepared to upgrade the territory. After yesterday's war, his reserve of Lord Gold coins also reached 600,000. As for wood and stone, there is no shortage. In addition, there is also fine iron needed to upgrade the town hall. He now has more than 100,000 units in reserve, which can fully meet the upgrade needs of the territory. Soon, a bright golden light emerged from the void. Like a beautiful aurora, it enveloped the entire golden oasis. The ground began to tremble. Countless tall trees rise from the ground. Colorful flowers covered the entire oasis. Like a beautiful tapestry. The area of the golden oasis is rapidly expanding, one continuous sand dune after another is being swallowed up, and a larger area of green space and woods are also appearing. At the same time, Sapphire Lake has also expanded in size. The silvertail fish living in the lake jumped out of the lake in groups. Lively and lively, outlining patches of silver light. Soon after, the golden light dissipated. The territory was successfully upgraded to middle-level town. It consumes 100,000 gold coins, wood, and stone each, plus 10,000 units of refined iron. I took another look at the cost of upgrading high-level town. It requires 300,000 gold coins, 300,000 units of wood and stone, and 50,000 units of refined iron. Continue. Lin Yi waved his hand and countless resources disappeared out of thin air. Then, the golden oasis that had just calmed down began a new round of turbulence. Some time passed. The upgrade is finally over. The territory has also been upgraded to the level of high-level town. The next level is the city level, which requires more resources. As the territory was promoted to high-level town, the area of the golden oasis also became larger, with the narrowest place reaching more than 15 kilometers and the widest place exceeding 20 kilometers. The salt lake where the sand people worked before has been included in the territory. It became the territory's mineral resources. It is worth mentioning that, after becoming a territorial mineral resource, the salt lake is no longer in the form of a dry lake, but a mine, similar to iron ore and stone mines. Not only has the form changed, but the collection method has also changed. It no longer needs to be dried or purified. It can be dug out directly and used as edible salt. This is the power of the system. There are still 200,000 gold coins left. The fine iron is also a little worse. On the other hand, the resources of wood and stone are still very abundant. After settling the income with Sophia in the past 2 days, we can collect the necessary funds to upgrade the City Hall. Once upgraded to City Hall, Lin Yi can complete the main mission and obtain new Lord Talents. Lord Talent is very important to himself and the entire territory. Thinking of the Lord's talent, Lin Yi couldn't help but check the upgrade progress of Light Envoy. One night passed, and the number of undead creatures killed had reached more than 3.7 million. This was mainly due to the zombie dragon king and the netherworld dragon Charles. By tonight, we should be able to reach the target of 5 million kills. At that time, my Lord Talent can be upgraded to the epic level, and the damage to undead creatures will be increased year on year. Thinking of this, Lin Yi felt better. He immediately came to the west side of Sapphire Lake. This is where the Royal Griffin Knights live. As early as some time ago, when the number of sand people increased dramatically and a large amount of wood resources could be collected every day, he had already begun to build a residential area for the Royal Knights. Until now, in total, he built 1,000 residences for the Royal Knights. And all the dwellings have been upgraded to middle level. Each middle-level residential house can accommodate 20 units of residence. In other words, these 1,000 residences can accommodate a full 20,000 Royal Knights at one time. As for their riding pet, the Golden Griffin, they usually keep it in their own riding pet space, or release it to the livestock farm on the other side of Sapphire Lake. Lin Yi didn't need to build a wooden house specifically for the Golden Griffin. After early morning recruitment, the number of Royal Griffin Knights under my command has reached 31,000. More residential buildings need to be built. Just as the territory was upgraded this time, the Oasis area was further expanded, and Lin Yi also had more open space to use. He plans to build another 1,000 middle-level residences. A total of 2,000 seats. A total of 40,000 Royal Knights can be accommodated. After he had more than 40,000 Royal Knights under his command, he upgraded the 2,000 middle-level residences to high level to accommodate more royal knights. Just do whatever comes to mind. Soon, after consuming a total of 300,000 units of wood, 1,000 middle-level houses were built by Lin Yi. The exterior styles of the houses are all the same. 2,000 residential houses were arranged neatly by Lin Yi, like fish scales. At a glance, it can be said to be very spectacular. Lin Yi then upgraded the territory's walls. And it was directly promoted to high level. The high-level wall is nearly 60 meters high and more than 20 meters wide. From Lin Yi's perspective on cognition, this must be regarded as a city wall. It's really hard to imagine. How majestic will the city walls built in the future be? In addition, what is very magical is that after the territory's area expanded, the wall surrounding the entire Golden Oasis also expanded, and still circled around the edge of the oasis. There was no situation where the area of the oasis expanded and the wall was swallowed up instead. Next, Lin Yi built more high-level arrow towers and high-level fortress on the enlarged and widened wall. After one round of operation, the territory's defense strength skyrocketed. However, Lin Yi's operation is not over yet. He built another circle of walls inside the territory, also equipped with a large number of arrow towers and fortresses, and defined it as the inner city circle. This circle of walls will be the separation zone between the inner city and the outer city in the future. Lin Yi plans to find a suitable time in the future to move all the sand residents currently living in the inner city to the outer city. There, they can enter the market and conduct transactions with settled chambers of commerce and even outside professionals. When the market becomes popular, his territory's economy will become more prosperous. Taxes collected will also be greater. In the future, all the people who join his territory will be placed in the outer city unless there are special circumstances. In this way, the market will be more lively. At the same time, it attracts more professionals and even other intelligent races. We need to quickly fix the magic defense shield in the inner city. In Lin Yi's plan, the magic defense shield in the inner city is a top priority, and it must be strong enough to withstand the attack of the demigod, otherwise he will not open the Golden Oasis rashly. Finished dealing with territory matters. Lin Yi is also preparing to go to the Professional Skills Tower to study his field. But right now, a Royal Holy Knight suddenly came over to report. Lord, the team monitoring Rat King Aubrey came back to report that Rat King Aubrey and his party have escaped into the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom. The speed is not slow. Lin Yi chuckled lightly and said to the knight who was kneeling in front of him, "Send a team of Royal Holy Knights to the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom in the name of an envoy and order them to hand over the Rat King Aubrey. And take the opportunity to inquire about the war strength and defense deployment of the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom. Prepare for the coming war. As you command, Great Lord." The Royal Holy Inquisitor Knight respectfully obeyed the order and then withdrew. Soon, a team of Royal Holy Inquisition Knights, all members of the Transcendent level, flew to the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom located in Albie Mine ruins riding huge golden griffins. Albie Mines. It was once a mine with rich iron ore resources. However, due to the violent mining by various kingdom-level forces, the resources of this mine were quickly exhausted. Even if there are remaining iron ore resources, they are not much. Since then, the once famous Albie mine has become a ruin. If there had not been an accident later, this mine site would have been buried under the yellow sand many years later. This surprise is the Grey Dwarves. Hundreds of years ago, Greyland Dwarves fled here. As the Greyland Dwarf race continued to multiply and develop, a kingdom was born. In terms of the history of the kingdom alone, the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom is far inferior to the Raveman Kingdom. After all, they are outsiders. But the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom is stronger than the Ratman Kingdom. In the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom, there are many well-equipped armies. As for its specific scale, Lin Yi doesn't know yet. The above information was also obtained by the Royal Griffin Knight from a group of Ratman captives who fled to the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom. Before entering Professional Skill Tower, Lin Yi went to the Hero Tavern. The tavern was still the same tavern, and there was still the old man in grey robes standing behind the bar, mixing drinks with an expressionless face. The old man's expression was always in a very indifferent state. Like a quiet pool of water, without waves or waves. Only when he saw Lin Yi, a smile appeared on his wrinkled face and he respectfully called him Lord. For Lin Yi, the old man has the same respect as his fellow citizens. But it's just respect. Whenever Lin Yi asked him to sell wine at a discount or on credit, the old man would still refuse decisively and repeat that this was a small business. Bring me a Bloody Mary. Okay, Lord, I'll give you 300 gold coins. Quote. Lin Yi casually gave the 300 gold coins to the old man in gray robe. He has a huge fortune of 200,000 gold coins, so spending 300 yuan on a drink is not too much. To be honest, the batch of high-grade wine Sophia gave him was really not good. At least it's much worse than the Bloody Mary worth 300 gold coins. When he was having supper last night, he wanted to give himself another drink. No heroes showed up today. Not yet. The old man in gray robe wiped the wine bottle with a towel and said, maybe in the afternoon, maybe in the evening, or maybe tomorrow. As long as time continues to pass, there will always be new heroes coming. Lin Yi decisively changed the subject and asked curiously, what level is this old gentleman? The old man in gray robe said with a smile, I'm just an ordinary old man. Lord, please don't pay attention to me. I might disappear one day. We'll talk about it later. Lin Yi asked sincerely, I am planning to understand the mysteries of the field. I wonder if the old gentleman can give me some advice. Don't take the advice seriously. The old man in gray robe said with a smile, the Lord is pregnant with the most precious treasure. Naturally, such a small problem cannot trouble you. Hear this. Lin Yi immediately knew what was going on. After thanking him, he left the Hero Tavern with the wine glass in hand. After entering the professional skill tower, Lin Yi drank the blood-red wine in the cup. Then, he began to study the wine glass in his hand. Translucent, like glass and crystal. Yesterday when he was in the tavern, he felt something was wrong. This thing was so hard that he couldn't crush it even with his advanced saint-level strength. If it can be used to make equipment, that's absolutely extraordinary. I can't tell what the specific material is. When we go back to capture the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom, we can grab a few senior blacksmiths to study it carefully. With that said, Lin Yi put the wine glass into his space equipment. He has no psychological burden at all about gathering the wool of Lord's system. One more thing, Lin Yi's previous space equipment was a space bag, which not only looked ugly, but also had a small capacity. Now it has been replaced by a space ring. The shape is beautiful, and the capacity is dozens of times larger. Soon, Lin Yi calmed down, sat cross-legged on a void of land, the internal environment of the professional skill tower, and then communicated with his Lord's system. I want to master the field. Is there any quick way? It's best to be simple and no-brainer. It's not that Lin Yi looks down on himself, his own talent isn't bad either. Otherwise, it would be impossible to comprehend and master the 3 transcendent levels of magic skills in just a few days. Simply because the mysteries of the domain are too complicated. Yesterday afternoon and evening, he stayed in the professional skill tower to study the secrets of the field, but he didn't even scratch the surface. According to his estimation, with his talent and the help of the professional skill tower, it would take at least a week to master a field. If you master multiple fields, the time will be doubled. He didn't want to waste his energy on this. Let's put it another way. In a week, he may have been promoted to demigod and come into contact with the law. What's the point of mastering 1 or 2 fields at that time? It's better to be simple and crude. Soon, Lin Yi received a reply from Lord's system. Lord can consume gold coins to purchase complete domain secrets. Closing square bracket. Buy directly with gold coins. That is indeed simple and crude enough. Lin Yi suddenly rubbed his forehead and said, shouldn't you be the one to remind me of this kind of thing? On the contrary, I am the one who asks every time. Too expensive, the Lord can't afford it. With that said, Lord's system very thoughtfully gave Lin Yi a price list for the secrets of the realm. Creation domain, 10 million gold coins. Field of Destiny, 5 million gold coins. Time domain, 5 million gold coins. Thunder realm, 2 million gold coins. Fire field, 1 million gold coins. Frost domain, wind field. Chapter 101. In the entire price list, there are thousands of realm secrets. Go up to the top areas such as the creation field, the destiny field, the time field, etc. Go down to the common realms such as the flame realm, the Frost Realm, the Earth Realm, and so on. There are also some power domains, speed domains, gravity domains, etc. that do not belong to the element category. In short, there are all kinds of fields. The most bizarre thing is that Lin Yi also saw all kinds of strange realm secrets such as the realm of clones, the realm of enlargement, the realm of shrinkage, and the realm of beauty. It's like the field of personalization and the field of beauty. In the former, after opening the domain enchantment, the domain master can create a large number of clones. And the higher the level of the domain, the greater the number of clones. The latter is the most bizarre in the field of beauty. After opening the domain owner will turn into a peerless beauty. Even if there are different races and different aesthetics, the sensory impression of peerless beauty will not change either. To put it simply, whether you are a human or a pig, you will find transcendent level beautiful after seeing it. This is the realm of beauty. From another perspective, this realm is very similar to the realm of enchantment. The difference is that the charm field focuses on the control of the mind and soul, while the beauty field directly attacks the soul, and the victim is more likely to be tricked. The various field mysteries on the menu really opened Lin Yi's eyes. But it also made his scalp tingle. Lord System is right, these realm mysteries are really expensive. Thousands of realm mysteries. The cheapest one costs 1 million gold coins. The most expensive one is as high as 10 million gold coins. This most expensive field is the creation field. Once you master the secret of creation, you can create everything in the world in your own field. As long as it matches your own power, you can create anything. This is the Lord System's information annotation on the realm of creation. In addition, under the creation domain, there are fate, cause and effect, time, space, and other top domain mysteries, all of which require 5 million gold coins to pass. It's really ridiculously expensive. How many bottles of fairy spring water would he have to sell to buy it? The middle level fairy spring water is still not good. Even if you sell 20,000 bottles, you can only buy one top field and 1 or 2 ordinary fields. I need fairy spring water with higher purity. Lin Yi plans to upgrade Elf Fountain to high level later. Selling 1 bottle of high level elf spring water is worth several bottles of middle level elf spring water. Lin Yi then asked Lord System how many different realm mysteries can one person master at most. Lord System reply: ordinary saint rank masters 1 or 2 fields, and geniuses have a probability of mastering multiple fields. As for the Lord, as long as there are gold coins, it doesn't matter how many types there are. Closing square bracket. There won't be attribute conflicts. With me here, the possibility of attribute conflict will not exist. Closing square bracket. Lin Yi decisively said, "You are awesome," and presented it to the system. Then he asked, "I bought the secret of the domain now, and I will be promoted to demigod in the future. If I want to buy the laws of the same secret, will I have to spend more money?" Unnecessary. Closing square bracket. When a lord purchases the mysteries of the law, the previous cost of purchasing the mysteries of the relevant fields will be deducted. Closing square bracket. For example, the time domain and the law, the former is worth 5 million gold coins, and the latter is worth 50 million gold coins. On the basis that the lord purchased the time domain, purchasing the secret of the law of time only requires 45 million gold coins. Closing square bracket. Then there's no problem. Lin Yi ended the communication with Lord System. For him now, there is only one question left. That's making money. Hundreds of kilometers away, Forest City, the annex of the city lord's mansion. In a garden pavilion with 100 flowers blooming, 3 beautiful figures sit. 2 of the figures were the 2 sisters Ella and Amy. The other person is the city lord of Forest City. She is also a natural elf, wearing a set of silver white light armor, with long, smooth light golden hair hanging around her lower back, with a beautiful face and translucent skin. Exquisite and long elf ears are exposed outside the long hair. There is a fantasy beauty. The ancient war mother tree. The elf city lord whispered in a trembling voice, and then said, "This matter must be reported to Her Majesty the Great Elf Queen as soon as possible." Ella said, "I plan to go to the Golden Oasis the day after tomorrow to see what is going on there, and then report to Her Majesty the Elf Queen." The elf city lord said, "Why do we have to wait until the day after tomorrow? Report the information obtained to Her Majesty the Queen as soon as possible." By the way, please ask Her Majesty the Queen whether to send an army to the Karar Desert to stifle the rapidly rising undead natural disaster. If the forces behind them are related to this undead natural disaster, then we have to think carefully about what they want to do with so much elven spring water. I think it's best not to conflict with Golden Oasis. The two sisters Ella and Amy looked at each other. You can imagine with the goblin's head that his background is unusual. Then he changed the subject, took out a bottle of elf spring water from the space equipment, and said, "This is the middle-level elf spring water sold by the Crystal Merchant Guild. I have checked it with a pharmacist. Incredible, but the fairy spring water sold by the Crystal Merchant Guild doesn't have this smell." The two sisters were a little surprised. Ella said again with a solemn face, "Now I believe even more that the human lord has obtained the divine favor under the crown of the elf goddess. Otherwise, how can we explain all this? It's possible. It is indeed a serious fairy spring water, but it is still a little different from our fairy spring water." The elf city lord said, "The water of life of our natural elves is made from the sap of the elf mother tree. Even if it is diluted into elf spring water, it will still have a faint smell of vegetation." Elf city lord, the two sisters Ella and Amy asked quickly. Ella took a deep breath and said, "The Holy Light Church has been trying hard for hundreds of years but failed to develop the water of life. A human lord who appeared out of nowhere actually did it." The elf city lord said, "Recently, a group of unidentified people have appeared in the city and are frantically shopping for goods. They have robbed all the elf spring water on the market." The elf city lord nodded. The elf city lord said, "No matter what, we must go to the Golden Oasis the day after tomorrow. With the strength of the three of us, plus our respective unicorn partners, we are enough to defeat the 4 undead dragons guarding the Golden Oasis." She didn't want to continue chatting with the two sisters. After a pause, Elf City Lord, "It might be more serious than I thought. Someone used the body of the dragon to trade a batch of elven spring water with the Crystal Merchant Guild through the Bounty Hunter Guild. 4 chapters updated, please reward. Giveaway power generated with love. Closing square bracket." Ella shook her head and said, "After all, we don't know each other's details now. The human lord was able to take out the ancient war mother tree, and even got the allegiance of the ancient tree people and even the eternal tree people guards." Hearing this, the elf city lord took a deep breath. Ella seemed to have just reacted and hurriedly explained, "I was just making an analogy." Sister Ella said in horror, "What the city lord means is that Golden Oasis has developed another method of preparing water of life." The elf Amy on the side said quickly, "Don't get me wrong, city lord, my sister did not say that you are the head of a goblin. Has the matter gotten this serious? What's the difference? I have investigated it before." Then he blurted out, "Lich. Rumor has it that the reincarnation of a lich requires huge life energy support. Once you succeed, you can live forever. Although the undead are known as undead creatures, they also have life limits. Seal an undead and isolate it from the outside world, and its soul fire will slowly dissipate and its body will decay over the years until it turns into ashes. But the lich doesn't, because the lich evolved an immortal substance belonging to the gods. Even if it is sealed for millions of years, the lich's body is still alive. The water of life is the best thing for the lich to reincarnate. But it's not available on the market. However, the diluted fairy spring water also has life energy. Normally, the life energy contained in 300 to 400 bottles of middle-level fairy spring water is equivalent to a bottle of real water of life." After hearing the elf city lord's speculative analysis, the two sisters Ella and Amy immediately suspected that a corpse which wanted to reincarnate into a lich, or that the lich wanted to revive and regain its strength. Coupled with the rapidly growing undead disaster in the Karar Desert, the possibility is even higher. After all, undead natural disasters are often the work of lichs or corpse witches. It would be better if it was the latter. But if it's the former, then you're in big trouble. The elf city lord said, "It's not necessarily that our speculation is correct. Maybe those people are rushing to buy Chingaling spring water just to make a fortune. When the war breaks out between the major forces and the undead army, the price of elf spring water will also rise accordingly." Ella and Amy were silent. This possibility is almost non-existent. In order to make a fortune, which force would be willing to trade the corpse of a giant dragon for elven spring water? Isn't this because the door was caught in the brain? Ella said. The city lord had better catch those people and interrogate them. The elf city lord shook his head. I caught 3 and all committed suicide. Even their souls were destroyed by an evil secret technique, and no information can be found. Ella thought for a while and said, you can go to the Crystal Chamber of Commerce to find out the situation. The elf city lord said, we have also investigated, and there is no problem with the Crystal Merchant Guild. That President Sophia only does business, and never asked for information about the mysterious person when he traded the dragon's body. Ella asked, if it is determined that the mysterious force wants to use the elven spring water to help the lich reincarnate, can the crystal merchant be prohibited from continuing to sell elven spring water? The elf city lord shook his head again. This is just our speculation after all, there is no conclusive evidence. Forcibly banning the Crystal Merchant Association from selling fairy spring water will affect the reputation our forest city has accumulated over the years. And it will offend Golden Oasis. That's right. Ella felt a little headache. Then he said, in the past 2 days, we will investigate the identities of those mysterious people, and then go to the Golden Oasis to further discuss with the human lord. That's all it can do. The elf city lord nodded. Just at this time, the expression on the elf city lord's beautiful face suddenly changed slightly. Ella asked, what's wrong? The elf city lord stood up and said, a mysterious person has entered the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. Ella said hurriedly, then what are you waiting for? Just catch him. Even if we don't get any information from him, we can't let him take away even a bottle of elf spring water from the Crystal Merchant Guild. The elf city lord also had the same idea. Without hesitation, the 3 saint rank experts from the elves immediately flew to the headquarters of the Crystal Chamber of Commerce as quickly as possible. At the same time, Sophia was also waiting in the lobby of the Chamber of Commerce. After a while, a masked man walked into the hall. A few days later, he was still dressed as he was at the Bounty Hunter Tavern. The mask on his face was not changed either. Sophia smiled lightly and said, Your Excellency, you seem to be very anxious. The masked man said in a low voice, Miss President, you should already know that the elves in Forest City are maliciously arresting my companions recently, and there is a high probability that I will also be targeted. Sophia nodded slightly. Recently, a group of masked men were frantically shopping for goods in the market. This time when I came to trade elf spring water with her, I contacted her in advance and negotiated the transaction price, 1 dragon corpse in exchange for 1,500 bottles of middle-level elf spring water. There are 300 bottles less than last time. The masked man asked, Miss President, is the fairy spring water I want ready? Certainly. Sophia waved her right hand. A gray space bag appeared in her hand. 15,000 bottles of fairy spring water, all here. No nonsense, the masked man immediately scanned the space bag with his mental consciousness. After confirming that it was correct, he took out a space ring. Sophia also took a glance and saw 10 huge dragon mummies neatly arranged inside. Soon, both parties happily completed the transaction. Thank you, Miss President. The masked man got the space bag and swallowed it. This scene made Sophia a little confused. What are you doing? The masked man smiled and said, just in case. As soon as he finished speaking, a sword energy like an aurora struck through the air, instantly cutting the masked man's body in half. Let him escape anyway. The corpse that had been split into 2 pieces on the ground was reorganized at a speed visible to the naked eye, and a living masked man stood up again. It was the elf city lord, and the 2 sisters Ella and Amy. Before leaving, he also left a message for Sophia, Miss President, happy cooperation. Please prepare more fairy spring water next time we meet. My master will never forget your great kindness. The elf city lord said, I will go to the Golden Oasis and have a good talk with the lord behind you. 3 powerful men from the elves arrived. Sophia first silently put away the space ring containing 10 giant dragon corpses, and then said, I have nothing to do with him, and I don't know anything about his identity. We are just doing a normal item transaction. Thinking of what Ella said before, he said, forget it this time, you'd better not trade with him again in the future. Actually, I have a better solution. The elf city lord added, then do you know that the forces behind him are most likely planning to use the elf spring water you provided to revive the lich? It's a pity that we don't have a space domain, otherwise we would have caught him. With the background of your natural elf clan, this is not a problem. Sophia smiled and said, since the lord of the city doesn't want us to continue selling elf spring water to that mysterious man, can't you just buy the elf spring water? And he even killed her partner in front of her. It chilled her inside. At this moment, the anomaly scene happened. Sophia shook her head. Business secret. God of Commerce. Immediately afterwards, 3 figures appeared in the hall. That is a legendary terrifying creature. The power of the domain cannot restrain the power of teleportation in him. She was afraid that the next sword would strike her. Thankfully I was prepared. Sophia took a deep breath and said, Lord City Lord, I am a businessman. I am only responsible for selling goods. I have no right to investigate the purpose of the buyer. The elf city lord was silent for a long time. Then the body disappeared like bubbles. Indignant, the elf city lord cast his gaze directly at Sophia, who was standing not far away. Sophia said, this is not something I can do. Resurrection Lich. The elf city lord said, how many bottles of elf spring water have you traded? The masked man glanced at the 3 elf city lords coldly. Sophia's delicate body suddenly trembled. Sophia looked at the 3 of them blankly, and then glanced at the corpse that was cut in half on the ground. Her delicate cheeks suddenly turned pale. Hear Sophia's amazing words. Whether it was the elf city lord or the 2 sisters Ella and Amy, they all felt dumbfounded. This lady, the president of the human race, actually took the business to them. You must know that before the Golden Oasis appeared, their natural elves were the largest and unique suppliers and manufacturers of water of life and elf spring water in the entire Holy Continent. Sophia actually sold fairy spring water to them in reverse. This business acumen really opened their eyes. What do I want from your fairy spring water? Black lines appeared on the fair and crystal clear forehead of the elf city lord. If it weren't for the fear of conflict with the Golden Oasis, she would use her status as the lord of a city to forcibly ban the Crystal Chamber of Commerce from selling fairy spring water. As for the impact on the reputation of Forest City, those were her official words. Compared to the Lich and the Undead Scourge, what is this loss? It was also because Ella analyzed that the human lord of the Golden Oasis might have obtained the divine favor of the elf goddess that she gave up her tough tactics and chose to talk to the Crystal Merchant Guild in a gentle way. As a result, Sophia actually asked her to spend money to buy the fairy spring water. This actually made her a little angry. Sophia said, I'm just making a small suggestion. If the city lord doesn't want to, forget it. As for not continuing to trade with the mysterious man, I really can't make the decision. I will go to the Golden Oasis. The elf city lord turned around and prepared to leave. At this time, Ella suddenly asked Sophia, how many fairy springs do you have? Sophia smiled and said, it depends on how many dragon corpses you have. How does she know how much elven spring water the lord has? Anyway, the lord told her, replace as many dragon corpses as you have. Ella asked again, how exactly did your Chamber of Commerce deal with that mysterious man? Sophia said, the giant dragon corpses he brought were all mummified corpses without flesh and blood. As long as the level during life reached saint level or above, he would trade it for 1,500 bottles of middle-level elven spring water. But if it is a freshly preserved dragon carcass, the price can increase by 50%. The latter sentence was told to her by Lin Yi. She didn't know why the price of fresh dragon corpses had increased by 50%. Could it be that the dragon's flesh and blood had other uses? For example, dissect them and resell them to hotels and restaurants. Curiosity is curiosity. Sophia was also very sensible and didn't ask any more questions. She does whatever Lin Yi asks her to do. She is only responsible for making transactions and then getting the commission. You businessmen are so evil. Ella complained uncontrollably. Let alone a 50% increase, even if the price increased by double, she still felt it was cheap. After all, that is the body of a giant dragon. Even if it is a fleshless dragon mummy, no force in the entire Holy Continent would be stupid enough to exchange it for a mere 1,500 bottles of middle-level elf spring water. It must be at least 2,000 bottles. If it is a fresh dragon carcass, the price is more expensive. This can only explain one problem. The forces behind that mysterious man really need the fairy spring water. He didn't hesitate to sell the dragon's body at a cheap price. Sophia smiled and said, "Business is about mutual consent. That mysterious man is very satisfied every time he trades with us and has never had any complaints." This is the truth. Before leaving, the masked man made an appointment with her for the next transaction. Come to think of it, he still has more dragon mummies in his hands. Ella asked, "How many bottles of middle-level elf spring water do you have in your hand? I will buy it from you with gold coins." Sophia thought for a moment and said, "About 3,000 bottles." Aila immediately said, "According to the market price, 12 million gold coins, I want them all." Sophia didn't bargain. This kind of private transaction is not taxed. On the contrary, she sells elf spring water in various shops of the Chamber of Commerce, and every bottle sold has to be paid to Forest City in taxes. Therefore, she decisively agreed to the deal. Card or cash? Swipe your card. Sophia plans to buy a flying riding pet later. Ella agrees. There will always be some dragons that die in the Forest of Life for various reasons. Moments later, the deal was done. That makes sense. The Elf City Lord's eyes lit up. In fact, there are a considerable number of dragons living in the Forest of Life. Therefore, they also took out the dragon carcass to trade elf spring water. With so many gold coins and 10 dragon corpses, she felt a little hot. If it weren't for the fact that the dark dragon Charles had got maggots in his heart, went crazy and slaughtered one of their elven tribes, they would not have chased him to the Karar Desert. She finally sold all the more than 20,000 bottles of middle-level fairy spring water brought by the old housekeeper. In addition to 10 dragon mummies, she received a total of nearly 38 million gold coins, which can be regarded as living up to the trust of the Lord. Their corpses basically fell into the hands of the nature elves. The main reason why they didn't do this was because the price Sophia gave was too bad. Unless their heads were caught in the door, they would never suffer such a loss. The 3 elf city lords also quickly left the Crystal Chamber of Commerce's residence. If we buy it, those mysterious people will naturally not be able to buy it. As long as they abide by the rules, the nature elves don't mind having giant dragons living on their territory. From another perspective, they can be regarded as curbing the progress of lich reincarnation. If she didn't hand it over to the Lord as soon as possible, she might not be able to sleep well. Over the years, Golden Oasis cannot continue to supply tens of thousands of bottles. Ella paid a total of 12 million gold coins to buy all the remaining fairy spring water from the Crystal Merchant Guild. Whether it is preparing water of life or diluting it into fairy spring water, it takes time. Ella said, "The human lord has not been in the Golden Oasis for a long time. I believe that even if he can prepare the water of life, he will not have too much stock in his hand." Sophia was right. With their background as a natural elf clan, taking out some giant dragon corpses was not a problem at all. And there is no need to use private wallets, only public accounts. Here, Sophia also felt relaxed after the transaction was completed. The dark dragon Charles is also one of them. The Elf City Lord said, "When you go to the Golden Oasis the day after tomorrow, bring a batch of gold coins with you and buy all the elf spring water that the human lord has reserved. Return to the back garden of the City Lord's mansion. As the City Lord of Kiati City, she has a lot of money. Then head to the Golden Oasis." The Elf City Lord said to Ella, "What do you think? You actually spent a large amount of gold coins to buy the elf spring water from the Crystal Merchant Guild. Don't trade with the dragon's body, it would be a huge loss." This is the Golden Oasis. Lin Yi also received good news from Miss Sophia. Hearing that he had acquired the bodies of 10 giant dragons at once, his mood suddenly couldn't be better. Even if they are all mummies, they are still 10 zombie dragons. If you're lucky and trigger the Lord's talent Awakening of Ancient Bloodline, maybe 1 or 2 zombie dragon kings with overwhelming combat power will emerge. That's the beauty of doing business. With steady development, when can we get 10 dragon corpses? Even if we launch a war and conquer the Ratman Kingdom, the harvest will be far less than a single transaction. Of course, this does not mean that war is not necessary. On the contrary, war is an important way for the rapid development of territories. Without war, how could the huge army of soldiers under his command quickly improve their level and enhance their combat effectiveness? In addition, Sophia also informed Lin Yi about what happened in the hall of the Chamber of Commerce. And focusing on the story, the elf city lord concluded that the forces behind the masked man exchanged for elf spring water, and the purpose was probably to prepare a plan for lich reincarnation. At the same time, the lich reincarnation plan is also related to the undead disaster that appeared in the Karar Desert. After listening, Lin Yi's expression didn't change much. Because he was mentally prepared. When the zombie dragon King Wallace was buried before, his tombstone was marked with, died 10,000 years ago and was killed by the titled sword goddess Amelia. At that time, Lin Yi was still analyzing with the old housekeeper Huo Din. If the masked man was just lucky and got this or some dragon mummies that had been buried for tens of thousands of years, then it wouldn't be a big deal. But if not, then the whole world is in big trouble. Now it seems that trouble may really become a reality. However, even if the lich is really reincarnated and time can go back, Lin Yi will not refuse to trade with the masked man. That lich, or the corpse witch who wants to transform into a lich, will not give up reincarnation just because he doesn't get the elf spring water in his hand. The undead scourge is rapidly taking shape. Disaster in the Karar Desert is destined to come. Under such circumstances, he would naturally try his best to improve the strength of his territory. Only when he becomes stronger can he survive this undead natural disaster safely. He doesn't want to die here. After all, he doesn't even have a wife now, so how can he be willing to die? Well, not counting Sally, that was his cute little maid. Sophia then informed Lin Yi that she had purchased a total of 27 dragon soul grasses in the forest city in the past 2 days, costing a total of about 400,000 gold coins. Lin Yi said well done. He didn't care at all about the consumption of hundreds of thousands of gold coins. The exchange for Lord Gold coins is only tens of thousands, which is not enough to purchase a fraction of the secret of the realm. On the contrary, dragon soul grass is very important. He now urgently needs more dragon soul grass to breed dragon elves. Lord, Sophia faced Lin Yi in the remote magic communication device and said, I bought a flying riding pet and will rush to the golden oasis later to deliver the dragon corpse and gold coins to you. Okay, remember to go to the guild and take out the gold coins. Lin Yi paused for a moment and then said, I will send someone to pick you up halfway. It's good to be cautious. He didn't want Sophia to be robbed. Praise the Lord. Sophia was happy and didn't seem to worry about her safety at all. The only thing she wants is to reach the golden oasis as soon as possible. And this time, she can no longer rush or leave in a hurry. After ending the communication, Lin Yi came outside the town hall, waving towards the sky. In an instant, Bone Dragon Charles fell from the sky with a strong wind, and crawled in front of him with great respect. Although these undead dragons are not Lin Yi's summons, let alone pets, and have not signed a so-called magic contract, their loyalty to Lin Yi is unquestionable. They are not territorial troops, but they are the same as territorial troops. Outside the outside world, no one would think that they belong to a certain human lord. They will only be regarded as wild undead creatures. Because there is no contract mark on them. Lin Yi said to Bone Dragon Charles, go to Forest City and pick up Sophia from the Crystal Merchant Guild. I've passed on her information to you. Also, don't enter the Forest of Life, just pick up her halfway. As you command, Great Lord. It would be better to understand the secrets of the realm. This is the ruins of the Albi mine. All of them have long beards of different colors. Many rocky mountains are covered with holes. They are the Grey Dwarves. An organized team of air combat knights appeared above the mine ruins. They have one more thing in common. A small hole slowly opened on the side of the stone door. After Bone Dragon Charles left, Lin Yi turned around and entered the professional skill tower. I don't know when. Just like the Holy Light Holy Sea will spare no effort to attack the dark cultists. This is an open depression that is not too small in area. Then, it flapped its huge bone dragon wings and rushed into the sky, flying straight to the direction of the forest city. After circling for a short time, the team began to descend. There is a rolling mountain range. After 100 years, you can vaguely see the traces left by the various kingdoms when they mined iron ore here. The average height of these figures is only 1.5 meters, but their bodies are very strong, much stronger than the rat warriors of Rat Man Kingdom. The reason why Lin Yi did not allow it to enter the Forest of Life was because it was the territory of natural spirits. Wait for a few minutes. The depression is surrounded by mountains on all sides, with only one passage leading to the outside world. The large and small rocky mountains in the mountains are all bare, and only a few mountain valleys can see some green. There are also a large number of broken black stones piled up around it, and many of them are buried under the yellow sand. With its speed as a bone dragon, it doesn't take an hour to reach the junction of Carol Desert and Forest of Life. It just so happened that he had nothing else to do right now. If you accumulate to a certain level and master even one field with your own abilities, you can save a lot of gold coins. For the natural spirits who believe in nature and life, undead creatures are their enemies. Immediately afterwards, a group of heavily armed short figures rushed out. Bone Dragon Charles vibrated and recovered his spiritual power. Soon, the team arrived at their destination. In the distance, in the sky filled with dust, some rocky mountains even disintegrated directly into rubble ruins. As for the team of aerial combat knights that descended from the sky, it was naturally the formation of Royal Griffin knights under Lin Yi. On the mountain stone wall on one side, you can see a stone gate, nearly 10 meters high. Magic runes were faintly flashing on the surface of the stone door. Choo choo choo. At the mountain call, the golden griffins spread their huge wings. A shrieking sound came from his mouth. That terrifying figure, the scream that seemed to pierce the eardrums. The group of heavily armed grey dwarves were so frightened that they retreated until they came to a stop near the stone gate. Their expressions were full of horror. Compared to the golden griffins, which are more than 20 meters high, their height of just over 1 meter is no different from that of a little mouse in a hole. However, after being frightened, they were extremely angry. After all, this is their Grey Land Dwarf Kingdom. No matter how powerful this group of Golden Griffin Knights is, they cannot be arrogant on their territory. A Grey Dwarf stood up with an angry face and said to the Royal Knights, "This is the territory of our Grey Dwarf clan. What do you want to do by intruding without permission?" There was questioning and hostility in his tone. Dwarves have never been a gentle race. They like to drink, are good at lifting iron, and are never afraid of war. They also claim to have the blood of the Titan family flowing in their bodies. If they provoke the dwarves, they will even dare to attack the dragon. A royal holy knight said, "We are envoys from the Golden Oasis. We are here to meet with your majesty the king of the Grey Land dwarves on the order of the Lord." The Grey Dwarf said, "Our kingdom does not welcome any outsiders, you should go back." The royal holy knight said, "I bring the friendship of our Lord, please don't refuse." Hear this. The face of the Grey Dwarf became even more ugly. But this time, he didn't speak. Instead, he thought about it for a moment, and then said to the royal holy knight, "Wait here, I will report." After saying that, he turned around and entered the small hole on the side of the stone door. About 20 minutes passed. The heavy stone door slowly opened, and the Grey Dwarf came back, welcoming a group of royal holy knights in. As for the Golden Griffins, they were taken into the riding space by the knights. Go through a deep passage. A group of people arrived at the base camp of the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom. Also located in the underground world. Different from the Skaven Kingdom, the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom is larger in scale, and all buildings are made of large stones with fine iron attached. There are also so many arrow towers and fortresses that it makes one's scalp numb. Even fortresses. Outside the city of the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom, there is a wide underground river. The river flowed rapidly and circled around the Dwarf Kingdom of Greyland. The river was dug by manpower. It was fed by underground river water and turned into a moat. After passing a semi-mechanically controlled suspension bridge and passing through a thick city gate made of fine iron, the group finally truly entered the kingdom of the Grey Land Dwarves. Everything I saw along the way were dwarves coming and going. There are also a large number of buildings emitting black smoke. It was a blacksmith shop. Hammering iron and building equipment are dwarves' occupations and their hobbies. Therefore, the sound of forging iron can be heard everywhere in the city. Not long after, the group of people arrived at the palace of the dwarves. The Grey Dwarf who led the way said, "Your captain only needs to enter the palace, the others need to stay outside." A team composed of 10 transcendent knights, plus 10 golden griffins of the same transcendent level, is a very powerful force. He did not dare to let this group of people go to see His Majesty together. Can. A royal holy knight nodded. Then he said to the other holy knights, you should also visit this majestic royal city and gain insights. Such a great underground building is difficult to see in other places. As you command. The other royal knights quickly retreated. The Greyland dwarf wanted to stop him, but he felt very helped by the royal holy knights' praise of their kingdom. Just as he was hesitating, the knights had disappeared. If you just take a look, nothing should happen. With this thought in mind, the Grey Dwarf led the royal holy knight into the palace hall. This is an extremely grand palace. The floors are all paved with smooth and flat bluestones. The thick palace pillars are not only carved with the unique patterns of the dwarves, but also painted with gold paint. There are also many gold decorations hanging on the surrounding walls. The entire palace looked magnificent under the glow of flames. At the highest point of the hall, there is a throne placed on the 9 steps. Sitting on the throne was a dwarf wearing a rich robe and a crown. He is the ruler of the dwarf kingdom in Greyland. In addition, behind his throne, there is a statue of the dwarf king dozens of meters high. Looking at the past from the perspective of the royal holy knight. This kind of picture is very oppressive, and it also highlights the majesty of the ruler of the dwarf kingdom. The royal holy knight stepped forward, performed a knightly salute, and said, Dear Majesty of the dwarf kingdom, I bring you the most sincere friendship and greetings from our lord. The king of Grey Earth dwarves nodded lightly. But he said, it is difficult for a human lord who has broken the peace contract to gain recognition from surrounding forces. If you want to gain the friendship of our Grey Land dwarf kingdom, your lord needs to move his territory out of the Golden Oasis. I will bring his majesty's words to our lord. The royal holy knight said. In addition, the lord also asked me to bring you a message. The king of the Grey Dwarves said calmly, what does he want to tell me? The royal holy inquisition knight said, Rat King Aubrey and the senior ratmen around him are war prisoners in our territory. I hope his majesty the king can hand them over to us. The king of Grey Earth dwarves frowned and said, your Golden Oasis launched a war against the Skaven kingdom without authorization, slaughtered hundreds of thousands of innocent Skaven, and now you want to kill their king. The beginning and end of this war has nothing to do with your majesty. The royal holy knight said, your majesty just needs to hand over Rat King Aubrey and others to us. Hear this. The king of the Grey Dwarves snorted dissatisfiedly. Then he said, you have come to the wrong place, Aubrey is not in our Greyland dwarf kingdom. The royal holy knight said, in this case, I will leave first. Looking at the back of the knight who simply turned and left, the king of Grey Earth dwarves sitting on the throne was a little confused. Was he fooled by him so easily? Of course, the royal holy inquisition knight did not leave immediately. Like other knights, he admired the customs of the dwarves in the city. It was not until he was stopped by a group of Greyland dwarf warriors who came in a hurry that he led his team to leave this magnificent underground royal city. How about it? I haven't seen the whole picture, but I'm sure it can't stop our legion's attack. It seems that there are some magic cannons on the city walls of the dwarf kingdom, which are slightly lethal. Bring the 2 remaining undead dragons in the territory over. 1 breath of dragon breath can destroy all those magic cannons. Where's Rat King Aubrey? That dwarf majesty seems to look down on us a little and is trying to protect the mouse. This is a good news. We have a reason to declare war on the dwarf kingdom, although it doesn't matter whether we have such a reason or not. Let's go back and report back to the lord. In a side hall. The knights have left. The king of the Grey Land dwarves said to the Rat King Aubrey. When Rat King Aubrey heard this, he was overjoyed and said excitedly, praise his majesty the king. One day I will rebuild the Rat Kingdom and I will repay you with generous gifts. You are welcome. The king of the Grey Dwarves didn't care about the generous gifts. The Rat Kingdom has been destroyed. Aubrey now depends on him for food and drink. Where did the generous gift come from? He helped Mouse King Aubrey because they had been neighbors for many years. In addition, when the Greyland dwarves established their kingdom in the ruins of the Albi mine, the Skaven kingdom also provided some help. He was repaying the kindness he had shown back then. There is another reason. In his eyes, the group of Golden Griffin Knights were always foreign invaders. Soon after arriving, the Rat Kingdom was wiped out. The behavior is too arrogant. If he lowers his head and hands over Rat King Aubrey and others, how will he mess around in this area in the future? However, when he thought of the knight simply leaving, the king of the Grey Dwarves couldn't help but ask, Your Majesty Aubrey, are you sure you didn't deceive me? There are less than 5,000 golden griffin knights. This, of course, Rat King Aubrey responded slightly awkwardly. King of the Grey Earth Dwarves. After a long time, he said solemnly, Aubrey, I need you to tell me the truth. If my kingdom suffers, you can't run away. Hearing this, Rat King Aubrey stretched out 2 paws tremblingly. This number. The King of the Grey Dwarves looked shocked. 20,000. Rat King Aubrey. More than 20,000. Quote. The King of the Grey Dwarves turned black. He regretted not handing over Rat King Aubrey and the others just now. More than 20,000 golden griffin knights. Is this a joke? He wanted to strangle the big fat rat in front of him to death. Seeing the anger in the eyes of the King of Greyland Dwarves, Rat King Aubrey was so frightened that he said quickly, Your Majesty, please calm down. If I had told the truth at that time, you might not even let me in through the gate of the kingdom. And you don't have to worry. The reason why our Ratman kingdom was completely destroyed was simply because the Dragon Charles was implicated. The giant passage we dug for the Dragon Charles turned into a direct path for the army of Golden Griffin Knights to invade our Ratman kingdom. But your Greyland Dwarf kingdom is different. The passage you connect to the outside world is only 10 meters wide at its widest. Those Golden Griffins are too big to get in. But those human knights can come in. The King of the Greyland Dwarves said with a gloomy face, Those Golden Griffins can use the riding space of their knights to enter the headquarters of my kingdom. Rat King Aubrey said, His Majesty the King can deploy defensive forces in the passage and even bury a large amount of black powder. After those knights enter the passage, you will detonate it on the spot. This will not only cause huge casualties to the invaders, but also deter them from attacking your kingdom. The passage was blown up, how can the people of my kingdom get out? There are undead everywhere outside. It would be a good thing not to go out. Quote. The King of Grey Earth Dwarves left the side hall with a gloomy expression. Now he really wanted to tie up Rat King Aubrey and send him to the Golden Oasis to get back the friendship he had just rejected. Dwarves are not afraid of war. But that doesn't mean he's stupid. Only a fool would want to provoke the army of more than 20,000 Golden Griffin Knights. However, he knew this wouldn't work. The knight walked away neatly, obviously ready to declare war on his kingdom. Even if he hands the person over, war may be inevitable. Now he can only strengthen the kingdom's defense, find more allies. And then, like Rat King Aubrey said, bury a large amount of black powder in the passage. Once the enemy attacks, he will blow up the passage. Think of this. He also urgently convened a high-level meeting of the kingdom. Hope more countermeasures can be discussed. Just when the Royal Griffin Knights team returned to the Golden Oasis. In the direction of the Forest of Life, there is also a figure preparing to rush to the Golden Oasis. It was Miss Sophia from the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. This time she went to the Golden Oasis alone. The old mage Simon was left by her in the Forest City to handle the affairs of the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. Sophia was riding a several-meter-long iron-clawed gray sparrow, flying above the Forest of Life, about a kilometer above the ground. Sophia was a little scared when she flew high in the sky for the first time. Fortunately, what she bought was an iron-clawed bullfinch that had been domesticated for a long time. Not only was it not slow, but it also had a gentle personality and a very stable flying attitude. As long as there is no big accident, she will definitely not fall. But sometimes, accidents always happen. Just when the iron-clawed gray bird that Sophia was riding was about to fly out of the Forest of Life and enter the Karar Desert, a group of huge silver-winged venomous bees suddenly appeared behind them. How big is it exactly? In short, it's a bit bigger than Sophia's iron-clawed gray finch. There are more than 20 silver-winged poisonous wasps in total. There is also a human professional sitting on the back of each poisonous bee. They were uniformly dressed in black robes and face coverings, and even their auras were masked by special means, apparently to hide their identities. I actually encountered a robber. Sophia was not afraid of danger and seemed to be well prepared. While she ordered the iron-clawed gray sparrow to speed up, she took out magic scrolls from the space equipment she carried with her. As a stack of magic scrolls disappeared, the poisonous bee knights chasing after them were immediately bombarded by magic skills. Wild Wind, Ice Wall, Thunderstorm, Bursting Fireball. The levels of these magic skills are not high, but they are better in quantity. And the price is cheap. Sophia bought a lot. She didn't expect to be able to kill these pursuers with ulterior motives, but as long as she could slow down their pursuit, she would be able to hold on until the people sent by the Lord could respond to her. When I catch up with this woman, I will definitely kill her. A poisonous bee knight who was affected by the exploding fireball cursed fiercely. Although the others were fine, their hair and eyebrows were burned off accidentally. The other poisonous bee knights were also very angry. He kept ordering the mounted silver-winged venomous bee to accelerate the pursuit. Compared to Sophia's iron-clawed grey finch, silver-winged venomous bee doesn't have the same endurance, but its explosive speed is fast. They believed that it wouldn't take long to catch up with Sophia. But what they didn't expect was that there were so many magic scrolls in Sophia's hands. I throw out a few from time to time, and they are all range attacks. As a result, their pursuit distance was once extended. At this time, the iron-clawed grey bird had already entered the sky above the boundary of the Kalar Desert. After a long time, the magic scroll in Sophia's hand was almost used up. She distressedly took out a new magic scroll. This was a teleportation scroll that could be teleported 100 kilometers away. She bought it at a high price. When you get to the Golden Oasis, you must ask the Lord to reimburse me. The teleportation scroll is Sophia's trump card. With the power of the scroll, she can instantly throw away the pursuers behind her. Even if those poisonous bee knights risked their lives to catch up, she would most likely have already joined the Golden Griffin knights sent by the Lord to rescue her. By then, we might be able to catch all these guys in one fell swoop. Thinking of this, Sophia was ready to use this teleportation scroll. Although the venomous bee knights were still at least 500 meters away from her, she would not challenge her limits and wait until the venomous bee knights continued to catch up before using them. That's too dangerous. Just at this time, a black shadow suddenly appeared in the distance. The black shadow is extremely fast, and its aura is extremely terrifying. Sophia could clearly feel the fear of her mount, the iron-clawed grey bird. It was trembling all over, and it was constantly transmitting mental fluctuations that meant it had to run for its life. It didn't take a while. Sophia saw the black shadow clearly. At that moment, her bright eyes widened. What the hell? Where did the bone dragon appear from? Sophia's face turned pale instantly, and her heart was extremely frightened. She almost instinctively tore up the teleportation scroll in her hand. As a strange force enveloped her and the iron-clawed grey finch she was riding on, one person and one bird disappeared in an instant. When they appeared again, they were already 100 kilometers away. The god of commerce is above. Fortunately, I was well prepared and bought a teleportation scroll at a high price. Otherwise, he will definitely die this time. Sophia was very happy and patted her chest, making waves. The iron-clawed bullfinch under her body also let out a happy cry of survival, and kept rubbing its head against its owner's body to thank him for saving its life. The elf city lord is right. The natural disaster of the undead is indeed getting more and more serious. In broad daylight, even the bone dragon ran out. Let's go quickly to the Golden Oasis. I don't want to stay in this place for one more second. Sophia patted the iron-clawed bullfinch on the head. The iron-clawed grey sparrow was also worried that the bone dragon would be chasing him, so he hurriedly flapped his wings and flew towards the Golden Oasis. Behind, 100 kilometers away. Bone dragon Charles looked at Sophia, who suddenly disappeared. Its head, which no longer had brain cells, shut down in an instant, and the huge bone dragon body also hovered in midair. It was confused for a while. What's going on? It was obvious that someone had been picked up, but the real owner ran away after teleporting. Are you scared by me? I forgot to say hello to her in advance. Bone dragon Charles quickly figured out the key. When a normal person sees it as a bone dragon, its instinctive reaction is of course to run away. It was impossible to stay put and wait for it to come. At this time, bone dragon Charles saw a group of venomous bee knights fleeing in the distance. It was far away just now when it discovered that Sophia, whom the master had asked to pick up, was being chased by a group of poisonous bee knights. It was precisely because it was worried about Sophia's safety that it flew over in a hurry, causing it to forget about saying hello. After all, it's all the blame on these poisonous bee knights. You guys should all die. Bone dragon Charles roared. Chased towards the venomous bee knights. At the same time, a circle of gray ripples emerged from it. In the blink of an eye, it spread to an area of several thousand meters in radius. Although these poisonous bee knights fled in all directions at the first moment, no matter how fast they could not reach the domain of Bone Dragon Charles, and they were soon enveloped. The mysteries of the realm, weakness and corruption. In an instant, all the poisonous bee knights were hit. His body was extremely weak, and the skin all over his body began to fester rapidly. Even if they turned on the magic shield, they couldn't resist it. Soon, the venomous bee knights screamed and fell from the sky like dumplings. Bone Dragon Charles flew over without saying a word. Crush them all in one bite and swallow them. It's a pity that it is a skeletal dragon, with bones all over its body and cannot eat meat. As a result, the corpses of the poisonous bee knights that were torn apart by it fell out from the neck bones before they entered the stomach. The only thing it can eat is the soul of the venomous bee knight. But it's enough. Ignoring the miserable pleas for mercy, the Bone Dragon Charles ate up the poisonous bee knights who were chasing Sophia, as well as their riding pets. Flamingo Chamber of Commerce. You are so courageous, you actually dare to attack my master. By devouring the souls of the venomous bee knights, Bone Dragon Charles also learned about their identity and background. At the same time, they also knew that this was just one of the steps taken by the Flamingo Chamber of Commerce against the Golden Oasis. A team of assassins had already been sent to the Golden Oasis to gather information. I just don't know why those assassins haven't arrived at the Golden Oasis yet. Maybe still on the way. Maybe it fell off halfway. After all, the Karar Desert is now full of undead creatures. A little accident is also a normal thing. Without any further thought, Bone Dragon Charles quickly flapped his dragon wings and flew towards the Golden Oasis. In just 10 minutes, it caught up with Sophia. The iron-clawed gray bird flapped its small wings desperately, but it could not get rid of the terrifying bone dragon that was chasing behind it. Sophia was also desperate. She didn't expect that this bone dragon would actually target her. She had been teleported 100 kilometers away, and she was actually being caught up. She is just a small ordinary professional. Why are you interested in her? Are there not enough powerful poisonous bee knights for it to eat? The teleportation scroll is gone. The Lord's Golden Griffin Knight did not appear either. You're dead this time. Seeing the bone dragon chasing closer and closer, Sophia was completely desperate and prepared to face death. But at this moment, a voice resounded in her mind. Cowardly human, why are you running away? Master asked me to come and pick you up. Sophia woke up instantly. She looked at Bone Dragon Charles in disbelief. Bone Dragon Charles shook his spiritual power and repeated, "The great lord of the Golden Oasis, my master." Sophia, next leg to the Golden Oasis. Sophia is riding on the back of the Bone Dragon Charles. There was nothing she could do. Her riding pet, the iron-clawed gray sparrow, was so frightened by the dragon that it couldn't even flap its wings. Even though my butt hurt from being hit by a bone, I still felt a full sense of accomplishment. Dragon Knight is an honorary title, Sophia said with some distress. If Lord Bone Dragon had contacted me earlier, I wouldn't have wasted a precious teleportation scroll. Bone Dragon Charles complained. You are too cowardly. Sophia asked, where are those poisonous bee knights? Bone Dragon Charles, eat. Sophia looked stunned. Looking at the blood-stained mouth and cervical vertebrae of the bone dragon, she felt creepy again. But he said, eat well. Oh my god, another full-scale Golden Griffin Knights Legion. On the way to the Golden Oasis, Sophia fell into shock again and again. Along the way, she saw at least 5 full-scale legions of Golden Griffin Knights, all of them fully armed and exuding powerful magic waves. The huge group of Golden Griffins made her fall into a state of sluggishness. The Golden Griffin is a high-level monster. Even in the largest World of Warcraft pet trading market in Forest City, it is difficult to see the Golden Griffin. But here, there is a legion-sized army of Golden Griffins. Thousands. It was unbelievable to her that this was true. What is this? Just a few legions. Bone Dragon Charles said. Under my master's command, there are a total of more than 30,000 Royal Griffin Knights, and what you see is only a small part of them. Hear this. Sophia suddenly took a breath of air. It was difficult for her to imagine what an army composed of more than 30,000 Golden Griffin Knights looked like. When they come together, I'm afraid it can only be described as overwhelming, right? Is Golden Oasis already so powerful? Sophia was shocked. When she first came to the Golden Oasis, it seemed that she only saw more than 100 royal knights. The most powerful ones are only high-level professionals. There is not a single king level. Today, Golden Oasis has an army of more than 30,000 knights, and all of them are equipped with high-level riding pets such as golden griffins. In just a short time, the overall strength of the Golden Oasis has increased by at least 1,000 times. In a daze, Sophia saw another group of huge figures. They waved the big sticks in their hands and easily smashed the undead creatures that came like a tide into pieces. Those are tree people. Your Golden Oasis even has tree people. Of course, they are also loyal to my great master. Bone Dragon Charles nodded. Sophia said with a dull expression, aren't the tree people the die-hard allies of the nature elves? In the history of the Holy Continent, I have never heard of a tree person being loyal to other races, including humans. Bone Dragon Charles said, that was before, times have changed. Sophia, soon, one person and one bone dragon arrived above the Golden Oasis. Sophia was once again shocked by the scene in front of her, and said, compared to the first time I came, the area of the Golden Oasis has expanded again, and it has expanded many times. In addition, towering city walls, dense arrow towers and fortresses were also built. Oh my God, what a big tree! What kind of person can create such a miracle? Sophia marveled uncontrollably. Initially, she and the old mage Simon speculated that the person standing behind Lin Yi was a saint-rank strongman. Now it seems that their vision is still too low. The fantastic scenes she saw along the way were probably beyond the ability of even ordinary demigods to create. Lord Bone Dragon, what is that? Follow Sophia's direction and look. Then he saw a huge black shadow hovering high in the sky. From time to time, the black shadow swoops down to the distant surface, spitting out a rich green mist. It is vaguely visible that there are densely packed small figures falling down in the mist. Oh, it's a carrion dragon. He is also the master's slave, my good brother. Elegant backyard. Sophia finally met the lord whom she longed for. Although it was not long ago, she felt a strange feeling that she had not seen for a long time. Not only because of the huge changes in the Golden Oasis, but also because of the aura emanating from Lin Yi's body, which made her feel as if she was being pressed by a mountain. The first time she met Lin Yi, like her, is a 9th-level professional. But now, just over a week later, Lin Yi's professional aura is 100 or 1,000 times stronger than hers. She was still a level 9 professional, but the feeling Lin Yi gave her seemed more terrifying than that bone dragon. Have to say, Sophia's intuition is quite reliable. The level of Bone Dragon Charles is Saint level intermediate. Lin Yi's current level is Saint level, and his aura is naturally stronger than that of Bone Dragon Charles. Miss Sophia, long time no see. Lin Yi smiled and invited Sophia to sit down. He specially built a set of stone tables and benches and placed them in the backyard, where he could eat late-night snacks while admiring the beautiful night sky of the Karar Desert. I have been looking forward to this meeting for a long time. My lord, Sophia sat on the stone bench neatly. Compared to the first time we met, she became much more reserved. Lin Yi said with a smile, don't be nervous, we are friends and good partners. As long as you want, you can regard Golden Oasis as your own home. Hear this. Sophia became even more nervous. Her delicate cheeks and shiny ears were even more flushed. This is too sudden. Lord, I am not mentally prepared yet. Lin Yi's smile paused slightly. Apparently, the beautiful Miss Sophia misunderstood him. But he didn't explain. It's not bad to have a misunderstanding. You can think about it slowly. Lin Yi said with a smile. Then he changed the subject and said, I have already investigated the identity of the group of silver-winged venomous bee knights who are chasing you. They come from a large chamber of commerce organization called Flamingo. Flamingo Chamber of Commerce. Sophia was startled and said, the person in charge of this Chamber of Commerce in Forest City has come to the station many times to find me, wanting to cooperate with us in operating the fairy spring water you provided. That person seemed quite polite, and the conditions he gave were very tempting. But I didn't expect that his behavior would be so bad. Fortunately, she was well prepared this time, otherwise she would most likely have fallen into the hands of those poisonous bee knights. Lin Yi said. Greedy desires will always blind people's eyes and drive people to do irrational things. This is normal. I plan to teach this Chamber of Commerce a small lesson. Sophia straightened her waist and said respectfully, as long as our Crystal Merchant Guild can help, please feel free to give me your orders. Lin Yi said. Don't worry, we will talk about this when you return to Forest City. Upon hearing this, Sophia quickly said, Lord, can I stay in your territory for a few more days this time? She was worried about being kicked out again. Lin Yi said with a smile, the Golden Oasis is not open yet. If you want to stay, you need to become my subject, if you are willing. Join your territory. Sophia hesitated and said, then my Chamber of Commerce. Lin Yi said, you will lose the ownership of the Crystal Chamber of Commerce, but you will also get a better future. Believe me, this will be the most profitable business in your life. Sophia didn't hesitate much. Soon, under the witness of Lin Yi, he swore to join the Golden Oasis. If it were the first time she came here, she would definitely reject Lin Yi. But today's Golden Oasis actually gave her a feeling of being high. Bone Dragon, Carrion Dragon. An army of tens of thousands of Golden Griffin Knights. There are also an extremely large number of tree people. How powerful is this? Coupled with the ever-expanding Golden Oasis, it is simply rushing to establish a kingdom. If she performs better, she might be able to become a high-ranking official in this Oasis kingdom in the future. Isn't this more promising than being a businessman in Forest City? After the oath is over, Sophia looked at the young and handsome lord in front of her, and felt a deeper sense of awe in her heart. Here, Lin Yi waved his right hand. A wine bottle and 2 wine glasses appeared on the stone table. Seeing this, Sophia stood up and took the wine bottle, filling the 2 wine glasses with blood-red wine. Lin Yi smiled and picked up a wine glass. Congratulations on joining our Golden Oasis. Praise the Lord. Sophia also raised her glass to drink with Lin Yi. As soon as the drink finished, she coughed violently. A delicate cheek also turned red. It took her a while to recover, feeling the heat and fragrance in her belly. Sophia was surprised. Lord, what kind of drink is this? It is much better than the drink I left in your territory before. If sold to Forest City, it will definitely be very popular. Lin Yi said. Its name is Bloody Mary, and a cup is worth 3,000 gold coins. So expensive. Sophia was secretly speechless. The sip she took just now cost her hundreds of gold coins. Lin Yi smiled and said, if you like it, drink more. In the Hero Tavern, Bloody Mary is just the cheapest drink. The glass of wine that Kesha invited him to drink worth tens of millions of Lord gold coins was the real luxury. If converted into the common gold coins of the Holy Continent, it would be worth hundreds of millions. The purpose of inviting Sophia to drink was not to celebrate. Drinking is just incidental, mainly to buy Hero Tavern wine bottles and glasses for free. Whether it was a wine bottle or a wine glass, the hardness was far beyond his imagination, and he could not crush it even with his strength. Spending several thousand Lord gold coins to buy a whole bottle of Bloody Mary, which comes with a wine bottle and 2 wine glasses for free, is definitely a profit. He plans to do more whoring in the future. It's best to get them together and make them into equipment. Maybe a piece of divine weapon level equipment will be born from his hands. Downed a few glasses of wine. Sophia was also a little drunk. While she was still conscious, she handed over the dragon corpse and gold coins she brought from Forest City to Lin Yi's hands, as well as more than 20 dragon soul grasses. A total of 10 giant dragon corpses were neatly arranged in the space ring. They are all in a mummy state. Their sizes are all over 100 meters. 2 of the giant dragon corpses were even more than 130 meters long. This is a state that Dark Dragon Charles has not reached. As expected, his level during his lifetime was at least the peak of saint rank. Sophia exhaled fragrance and said in a soft voice, Lord, I don't know the origin of the masked man. Before leaving, he asked me to prepare more fairy spring water. Apparently he still has a lot of dragon corpses in his hand. It doesn't matter what his background is. Lin Yi put away the space ring containing the dragon's corpse. While exchanging the tens of millions of gold coins contained in another piece of space equipment into Lord Gold coins, he said, as long as he can get the dragon's body, then continue to make deals with him. As he spoke, a smile appeared on his face. After some exchanges, the number of Lord Gold coins he had in reserve soared to 3.8 million. Enough to buy 3 common realm mysteries. However, there is no point in buying ordinary fields. If you want to buy the top one. Time, space, destiny, cause and effect. He likes all these top fields. By the way, Lord, Sophia said, I heard from the Elf City Lord that she seems to be coming to the Golden Oasis. And it seems that they plan to buy up all the elf spring water in your hand. Ah, hearing this, Lin Yi burst out laughing. It wasn't a mockery, but the Elf City Lord didn't know what she was facing. Looking at Sophia, whose cheeks were red and looking a little erratic while sitting, Lin Yi said with a smile, there is a second bedroom in the courtyard. If you are drunk, go and take a nap. Lord, I can continue drinking. ... Lin Yi simply walked over. He picked up the dangling Sophia by the waist and walked to the bedroom. When they first came into contact, Sophia's body was obviously a little stiff, but she soon softened, curling up in Lin Yi's arms like a big cat with soft limbs. I want to see how much you can buy. Later, Lin Yi spent another 100,000 Lord Gold coins and 50,000 units of stone to upgrade the Lucky Altar to a high-level building. Once the door is closed, even a demigod cannot sense that there is a well hidden here. Accompanied by Lin Yi's whisper. Thinking of this, Lin Yi built a high-level residential house to surround the fairy spring. The buildings in the territory are protected from prying eyes, so as not to scare them away. 4 chapters updated, please reward and encourage me. Closing square bracket. Such a well can hold at least 200,000 bottles of fairy spring water. High-level fairy spring can produce high-quality fairy spring water. A bright golden light emerged from the void and enveloped the entire golden oasis. That's equivalent to 2 billion gold coins. He clicked on the building upgrade option. While running, I have to complain that I can't finish all the purchases, I can't finish them at all. But for the sake of safety, this mouth cannot be seen by the elves. The fairy spring was upgraded to a high-level building by him. That is to upgrade the territory. Next comes the most important thing. After waiting for another 3 hours or so, the amount of refined iron required for the upgrade was enough. There is enough wood and stone. Upgrade your territory. After taking a look at the resources reserved in the territory, not to mention an elf city lord, even the elf queen had to turn around silently when she came. He hopes that the high-level luck altar can give him a more awesome aura, accompanied by a bright golden light. In addition, the upgraded elf spring area is also larger. The diameter of the wellhead exceeds 15 meters, and the depth is also 20 or 30 meters. Business still needs to be done. The price of a bottle is at least 10,000 gold coins. The refined iron is still a little short of that. Lin Yi is not afraid of being coveted by the natural elves. After all, the more powerful ancient war mother tree is right there. As soon as tomorrow passes, the aura of the lucky altar will be refreshed. He was mainly worried about scaring away the elven guests. In a blink of an eye, Lin Yi was standing near the fairy spring. Once upgraded to City Hall, he can gain another Lord Talent. This upgrade took a particularly long time. It took at least half an hour for the golden light to slowly dissipate. This also means that the upgrade is over, and Lin Yi's territory has been promoted to the level of City Hall. City Hall. Level. Low level. Newly unlocked buildings. Magic Cannon, City Wall. Next level. Middle level City Hall. Upgrade requirements. 1 million units each of gold coins, wood, and stone, and 300,000 units of fine iron. After the upgrade, the area of the Golden Oasis has expanded again. With just 1 or 2 more upgrades, it can extend to sand forest areas dozens of kilometers away. The expansion of territory is naturally a good thing. The most intuitive thing is that there are more big trees in the territory, and there is no way to cut them all down. In addition, there are new mineral resources, such as stone ore and iron ore, which are also in the process of gestation. The air in the territory is also fresher. The volume of magic elements increased exponentially. The only disadvantage is that the area that needs to be protected is larger. Today's Golden Oasis has a circumference of almost 60 kilometers. If a mere 30,000 Royal Griffin Knights were thrown into it, it would only create waves. It is difficult to fully protect the Golden Oasis. Therefore, he needs more troops. and build more arrow towers and fortresses. The good news is that after the territory is upgraded to City Hall, new buildings, magic cannon, and city wall are unlocked. Both of these are defensive structures for the territory. Especially the magic cannon is more powerful than the arrow tower. The Royal Griffin Knights team that had previously been on an envoy to Greyland Dwarf Kingdom had returned to their territory and reported the information they gained to Lin Yi. Lin Yi also learned from the Royal Knights that the walls of the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom were equipped with magic cannons. He did not expect that this kind of building would be refreshed after he upgraded his territory. System, if I want to replace the magic cannons in batches, do I need to dismantle the arrow towers? The Lord does not need to dismantle the arrow tower. Closing square bracket. The magic cannon is an advanced building of the arrow tower. After unlocking it, you can upgrade the high-level arrow tower to the magic cannon and simultaneously reduce the cost of building the arrow tower. Closing square bracket. New. Lin Yi feels that the Lord system is quite considerate. Even the cost of building the arrow tower was taken into account. To put it simply, if it takes 100 units of resources to build a new magic cannon, and he spent 80 units of resources when building the high-level arrow tower, then only 20 units of resources are needed to upgrade it to a magic cannon. The previous construction supplies were not wasted. In addition, the same goes for upgrading walls. Magic cannon. Type. Territory Advanced Defense Building. Construction requirements. 100 units of stone, 200 units of refined iron. Special reminder. Upgrading the high-level arrow tower to a magic cannon only consumes 150 units of fine iron. Closing square bracket. It's still a bit expensive. Lin Yi felt a little headache looking at the construction conditions of the magic cannon. He built a total of about 1,700 high-level arrow towers on the two walls of the territory. If they were all upgraded to magic cannons, it would require about 250,000 units of fine iron. He has wood and stone. Only refined iron is lacking. Lin Yi then summoned a royal holy knight and said, "Send the order and have a good rest tonight. Attack the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom early tomorrow morning. As you command, Lord." The royal holy knights respectfully retired. Looking at the knight's back, Lin Yi said to himself, "The Greyland Dwarf Kingdom is a big business. It not only builds a large amount of equipment, but also reserves a large amount of refined iron resources. By winning the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom, I should be able to replace the shotguns in the territory's arrow towers with cannons. The further we go, the more I feel the importance and scarcity of refined iron. I can't just focus on the Dwarf Kingdom of Greyland. We still have to go to Forest City to buy some. After all, the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom cannot fight every day." Due to the lack of refined iron, Lin Yi could only give up temporarily and replace the arrow tower with a cannon. On the contrary, he upgraded the two walls of the territory into city walls at once. Compared with the wall, the city wall is more spectacular. The height directly reached more than 100 meters. The whole body is made of hard bluestone, as smooth as a mirror. Even in a transcendent world like the Holy Continent, a wall of this height is extremely exaggerated. Once you put it there, you can directly intercept all creatures under the transcendent, excluding flying creatures, or professionals who master flying magic. Even king-level professionals would find it difficult to climb over his wall without borrowing help. Shortly after the city wall was upgraded, the prompt information from the Lord system also appeared in Lin Yi's mind. "Congratulations, Lord, your core building level has been upgraded to City Hall." Closing square bracket. You have completed the main mission. Closing square bracket. You receive the main mission reward and a random Lord talent. Closing square bracket. You get the Lord talent, King of Titans. You successfully started a new main quest. Closing square bracket. Main mission. Improve the level of the core building and upgrade it to the Palace Hall. Task reward. Randomly obtain a Lord talent. Closing square bracket. Your side quest has been refreshed. Closing square bracket. Side mission 1. Next, destroy or conquer at least 3 kingdom-level forces. Closing square bracket. Task progress. 0. Task reward. A random unit building drawing. Closing square bracket. Side mission 2. Conquer Dragonfall Canyon. Closing square bracket. Task reward. an upgrade blueprint of the ultimate military unit building. Closing square bracket. Comma. Holy shit. Looking at the two side tasks that were refreshed, Lin Yi couldn't help but curse. One reward is army building blueprints, and one reward is ultimate arms building upgrade blueprints. Simply invincible. Especially that ultimate troop building upgrade drawing, Lin Yi was jealous just looking at it. Taking the territory's military building, Royal Griffin Knight Training Ground, as an example, as long as he gets this blueprint and upgrades it to the ultimate military building, the number of Royal Griffin Knights he recruits every day can be directly doubled 10 times. He is now recruiting 3,000 Royal Griffin Knights a day. 10 times that is 30,000. If it were the ancient War Mother Tree, he could recruit a full 10,000 ancient tree people in one day. Lin Yi made up his mind. Even if he risked his life, he would raise the falling dragon canyon to the ground. After calming down, Lin Yi checked the Lord Talent he had just obtained. Lord Talent, King of Titans. Level. Divine level. Talent information. You are the darling of the original Law of Thunder. Your attack in the field of thunder is increased tenfold. The combat effectiveness of the Titans under your command is increased by 3 times, and the combat effectiveness of the Titans is increased by 5 times. During the battle, your Titans have a chance to achieve bloodline evolution until they are promoted to Titans. Closing square bracket. What is it today? I'm so lucky. You can actually get the divine level Lord Talent randomly. Lin Yi almost laughed out loud. With this talent, he now has 4 Lord Talents. Among them, 1 is super divine level, 1 is divine level, and 2 are epic levels. The talent of the Holy Envoy of Light was upgraded last night and was promoted to the Holy Envoy of Light. The Titan King's talent effect is indeed a bit awesome. The only thing that makes me unhappy is, I don't even have a single giant soldier, let alone a Titan. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.